What up, though? One Pride. This is the
Recording in
Roar of the Lions
progress.
UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, Path to the Draft. Yes, it is a bland title this week, but we've been doing this 4 years now, and I've used up a lot of my good shrine jokes at this point, so. It just is what it is. But yeah, as the show entitles, we are very much on the path to the draft now, right? It's a long, several month process, but one of the most important weeks of them all is that when the Shrine and Senior Bowls are in town, which is currently the week we're in. And this is the platform for small schoolers, guys who haven't had much attention to come in and show what they're worthy of. And I think it's fair to say the small schoolers didn't come to make up the numbers this week. We've been seeing some highly promising performances in both weeks.
Yep, the D3, the D2, and especially a lot of the FCS guys across both camps, both games, and practices have really been just holding their own and also just standing out, making splash plays in drills. Really, they're the ones that have got the most to gain from these weeks in this period. So it's been good. Like I said, the internet has been a wash of clips and videos and measurements. There's no more hiding. We know how big you and your hands are now. Right, there's no more fibbing on the internet. So yeah, all that ugly, dirty laundry has been out for the world to see.
You know what? I think at some point someone needs to create like a chart, a schools chart, like which schools lie the most about height and weight when they get there, because some schools are egregious with how they do it. Like some guys come in and they're like 3 inches shorter than advertised or something like that. We need to do a schools-based thing to see which schools are reliable and which schools are not. But yeah, this is what this week is about, getting those measurables in, getting to have a look at guys, and as I will always say on this podcast, and I get in trouble with it with a lot of analytics nerds and that all the time. Yeah, it's great for these weeks when you hear like the arm lengths, the athleticism, the stuff like that. But if these guys out there are telling you that a prospect you like, that he's an inch or two too short, he's an inch or two too high, whether he can't run his 40.1 of a second, to what they despise and everything, ignore them. Tape is where you see what these prospects are about. Their college tape is where 90% of their stuff comes from. These weeks, don't let them dissuade you from some of your favorite players. If you're hearing bad things, keep going. That's what I always do. I get the guys I like and I stick with them till the end. So just take a pinch of salt with these weeks and some of the stuff that goes on there. But obviously, it is fun for us all to watch as well. So yeah, that is what we're going to be doing today. So obviously, we broke down the Shrine Bowl roster last week. We're going to look through at some of the Shrine Bowl practices this week, some of the players that have been doing well, some who've maybe been struggling a little bit, and then we're going to turn our attention to the Senior Bowl. We'll break down the Senior Bowl roster, not in depth like we've done with the others, otherwise this show will be 5 hours long,
It's
but
massive.
we're going to go through some of our favorite players per position, and then, of course, we're also going to break down some of the good performances so far from those practices. And that is really what is on the docket for today. And we've got a tiny bit of news to go through first. But, Grandizer, we will try and keep it a little short for you because the Shrine Bowl, the game itself, is tonight. So we get to see the first of these, and hopefully there is a reliable stream up for us. Thanks for everyone who's bared with us. We've kicked off a little late today, but we appreciate you having all in the building. I know Brent's in, Grandizer's in, Mile Marker is in the building as well. So if you've got any questions during the evening, as always, just let us know, and we will either answer them on stream or we'll get back to you next week. But we'll do it. So yeah, we'll let me just get on with the housekeeping out the way, and then we'll get into this. So. For the Lines UK Discord, if you want in, let us know. We'll send you a link for that. Main podcast. So this upcoming Monday, it is I think it's fourth or fifth annual awards show. So do come along and join us for that. We're going to put the fan votes and everything out there, but it's going to be a night to celebrate the better bits of the Lions season and just have one last more bit of fun before we really go fully into draft season. This week we sort of we made up not made up. We announced the nominations and we put our nominees in there. So if you've not checked that, go and check it out. And always let us know what you think because your feedback does mean a lot to us with that. Don't forget to like and sub to everything. We're part of Lions Nation Unite, Herman Moore's project to bring together a whole host of Lions content creators into one forum to chat Lions with you guys. So please do that. We're trying really hard to get that up and going. We're affiliated on Twitch. We're YouTube monetized. We've got a tip jar, all that stuff. If you want to help us that way, great. But we just love having you all in the building first and foremost. Right, let's dive down. I said there's a little bit of news today, and this maybe not quite college football based, but this is an intriguing little bit of news that we got today. And for those who like their football that isn't always NFL and you like other bits, and I know Ryan's happy about this, so it was announced today that DAZN, the one who do NFL Game Pass for us over here, where we get to watch all the NFL games and that, they have taken on the rights to the European League of Football. So all the American football teams based over here on the continent, we are now going to be able to watch the games as part of DAZN. Don't know whether it's going to be an additional service,
Yeah, I've
etc.
had a
But
look.
for
Oof, it's not
those
cheap.
but for those who maybe are potentially interested, you know, this is where the international pathway player programs come from, quite a few of them. You've seen coaches coming across the pond, you've seen draft prospects coming across the pond. Potentially a opportunity for people to get to look into the finer part of the European League of Football rise coming.
Yep. I had a look today. All 255 games, so no blackouts. They'll move them all out there across a weekend. Yeah, if you're in America, yeah, you may have to get you will have some early starts because you've got games across Spain, Germany, Italy, Sweden. So the times will differ. But yeah, a lot of these guys have produced a lot of them, a lot of standout American talent, a lot of big names that guys will know, like across the pond from local colleges have come to play across here. And yeah, coaches, the Paris Musketeers, they've lost a coach to the NFL, then they've signed coaches. There's some legendary names, like I say, of NFL and American football coaching over here in Europe. Yeah, Masio Baird, who's entered the IPP. He has been an absolute stellar safety for the last 2 years in the LF. He is a ball hawk, a magnet. He's a massive guy, and he's one of the biggest names right now on this continent. But yeah, I had looked today. I think it didn't tip to DAZN, but it went like, do you want a pass? It was like 120 euros. But you can pretty much watch every single game, even if they're on at the same time, you can go back and watch them. And I imagine you will get, they do have some games with American commentators, and they're British as well. So there'll be a lot more. But yeah, it's a big step for them because they were using like a subscription player, but it was difficult to watch. But now you'll be able to watch on your PlayStation, your TV, your laptop, your tablet. It's a big step in towards getting more rights, building as a franchise. Eventually, we don't have the money for it, but the London Monarchs, the UK team, they can still buy those NFL Europe rights from the NFL that still own them. They will be able to acquire them if they can get enough money. The UK put a team, but yeah, it's a step in the right direction. Especially these guys as well. A lot of them will go on to play in Canada, and will go on to play in the UFL, whether they make it in the NFL or not. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Like I say, I've watched a lot of it, and yeah, it's good. It's growing, and yeah, there'll definitely be some household names in the future. So yeah, it's great to see.
Yeah, so
A lot of American fans in the 70s and 80s, they will remember Frankfurt Fire, the Frankfurt Galaxy, and the Rhine Fire
yeah,
because they had a lot
exactly.
of big names there.
It's growing, and especially in Germany where you've got a lot of American service personnel and that, you've got a lot of naturalized Americans there anyhow who
The
come and play.
GFL,
So,
like I say, they've got more American imports than probably CFL. Some
yeah,
of them, because they've got a lot of money, and a lot of them want to go and live in Germany because it's beautiful. And play in Germany.
yeah, exactly. So, again, if you're interested, possibility you're going to be able to watch the European League of Football going forward. And I mean, works out about 50p a game, which isn't too
Yeah,
bad on the
you can
grand
buy a
scheme of
pass for a
things.
weekend
So,
for like 11 euros. I don't
yeah,
know what that is in dollars.
yeah, give
Up from about
the
15,
euro.
$20.
Euro and the dollar are about even. I think the dollar
Yeah.
it would be a smidge more in dollars, not much. So, but yeah. Anyhow, we just thought we'd let you know the European League of Football is going to be on the zone. So if you want to watch a bit of Euro football, and when is the season? Is it during the NFL off season or is it the same
Yeah,
time?
it's a summer league,
There you go. So you
so
got a summer league. You get to
it'll be
watch your
starting
ball.
soon.
So you get to watch some ball while the NFL is not off either. But yeah, we just thought we'd throw that in there. It's kind of it might be college related because some players do come across and all. So yeah, there you go. And then there was just a couple of coaching appointments I wanted to quickly mention. This is a nice one because, guy's been so done up with injuries and that, right? But Mo Ibrahim's going back into college football. He's going to be the running backs coach at Kent State now. Obviously, he's Minnesota's most successful running back of all time, and it was just such a tragedy what happened with him in terms of injuries derailing what would have been a very good NFL career. But the Golden Flash has been an awful team these last 2 years, but you can't say that they're not going out there and getting coaches who hopefully are gonna make that program a lot better, and it's gonna be intriguing to see what he does. But you figure he's gonna make a really good coach in the college leagues.
He should do, yeah. He's got a lot to offer. Like I say, he's very young. It's one of those positions where it's a good stepping stone. Like say, next thing, like say, you go in as an assistant, you get the running back coach, then you like say you learn the pass in the offensive line. We've seen a lot of players go back to colleges, like I say, that have not gone pro at all. They've gone straight into jobs, like say, having tried, bad knee injury, but yeah, a program flailing, no real identity right now that needs some improvement in all areas. And yeah, it's a good place for him to go and start and see what he can do and help their room there. If he does succeed in a year or two, then he will probably find himself getting poached by a Power Four school.
Yeah, hopefully we will look with interest, but we'll be rooting for the Golden Flashes going forward, especially their running backs. So hopefully Mo Ibrahim does well there. And then the other one I wanted to mention, now this is going to seem really random, but it is to do with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and I do like to show favor because you know, our few regular fans in the building, I do like to do a little extra for them. And I saw this and I was intrigued because of the system this guy runs and how he goes there. But Minnesota, to their defensive staff, have appointed Kevin Kane. He's taken an on-field position on the defense. So he's not going to be the actual DC, but he's going to have a big say in what goes on there. So he's been a defensive coordinator at Northern Illinois, SMU, etc. But he runs a defensive system that not many of you will have ever seen before, which is known as the airstrike. And basically, what the airstrike system is your defense shows the exact same coverage every single play. You don't change the coverage. And what this does, because you're not matching up with guys and that, opposition offenses can't tell what you're doing because you're not giving it away with where you're putting players, the looks you're showing, how it works. He works with two outside linebackers, and those outside linebackers basically are incredibly talented. They will either blitz, they'll drop into coverage. They'll come up in the run defense. You just don't know what he's going to do with them. They're basically two hybrid guys, and it's a system that you very rarely see, and it's a system he's created. It's like Brennan Marion's go-go offense. I love these sort of different schemes that come in that you don't normally see, but I will be interested to see if Minnesota pick this one up right, because it sounds on paper like a very odd concept, but at the same time, if you're not showing what you're doing to an opposition offense, they're not going to be able to adjust to you either. It seems an odd concept, but could be fun.
It's definitely gonna be interesting. It's it's going to take a long time to install. Like I say, the guys, they're really going to have to do the homework. How they disguise what they're trying to do. Like it might be audible, it might be visual calls, like saying less huddling. And I agree that any opportunity you get where you can't let the offense substitute to match what they think a defense is going to do, or you can find ways to get your defense to substitute less, and players that can play a multiple of schemes without giving away a package, and you can keep the same guys on the field for a couple of downs. You save time, like I say, you save energy, and you also keep the offense guessing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out and how quickly offenses are able to adjust and decipher what the tells will be.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm going to be watching the very. I want to see if they do adopt it, but it's something I could get behind because again, there's a lot of offensive masterminds around nowadays, so you've got to try and counter with some of these weird and wacky things. But yes, the airstrike is now in Minnesota, and we will see whether they adopt that or not. But I wanted to mention that for mile marker there because I thought you'd be intrigued by that. Right, that's everything in terms of news. Let's move on and let's first chat about the Shrine Bowl, right? Because we broke down the roster last week and a lot of the guys in there, and of course the practices have been going on longer than the Senior Bowls. Practices started last Friday, I believe. They've had practices
The
Friday,
game's today, is it
Saturday.
not?
The game is tonight, yes, so I'll be staying to watch that. But there has been a lot of impressive showings from guys in the Shrine Bowl, so we're just gonna go through some of them now, and I try and do it like positionally as well. So we know it's been good, but the quarterbacks have been really interesting this week, right at the Shrine. So just for memory, the quarterbacks who are there. Max Brosmer from Minnesota, Brady Cook from Missouri, Kyle McCord from Syracuse, Cam Miller from North Dakota State, Shadur Sanders from Colorado, and Peyton Thorne from Auburn. But it's the two FCS guys who've really been turning heads, and then Kyle McCord as well. But we'll start
Yeah,
with
I've heard a
Max
lot about Kyle.
Brosmer. Max Brosmer has been getting a lot of love this week, and a lot of what I've been it's kind of what has been said about him. Some of the downfield stuff, needs to get there, but not really what he's done in his career. But in terms of his short and intermediary stuff, they've said his drills on the field, specifically the red zone drills, they've seen some of the best passing all week, period, hands down, from a quarterback from him, and he's been absolutely slaying it. And kind of this position here, like for guys like him, like he's forced himself right into this draft picture now. You're not even talking late day three. We're maybe talking early day three territory, but he's been lighting it up this week, and people have been falling over themselves to praise him.
Yeah, as you say, he's the accuracy, the also the time in the pocket. He's getting the ball out very fast from the snap, which has been very comfortable. He's been handling the ball very well from multiple offensive linemen, different centers snapping to him. Like I say, he's not had any issues with ball security, and then he's getting through his reads and progressions really well in that short to intermediate, the in and out break and stuff. And yeah, the ball's coming out with zip on it. It's coming out. It's hitting him in the numbers, hitting him in the hands. He's got good chemistry with guys that he's never met before. And like you said, looking very smart. He's not putting the ball in harm's way on the drills. Whether the receiver gets there or not, if the defensive back wins, like he's putting the ball where it needs to be. Like I said, where he would put it, and he's expecting them to go out there and make a play. But yeah, the defense DBs, they're struggling to make plays on his balls, either one way or another. So yeah, he's doing very well. He's become one of the quickest risers in the nation. Like I said, just off this recent year, and now he's going into a lot of momentum.
Absolutely. I love what I've seen from him. Some of the clips they've had of him is just it's clean, it's concise. So what you need at the NFL level, sensible decision making makes up for the lack of a ginormous arm. As long as you're making sensible choices, teams will always value that. And then your boy Cam Miller's been doing very good as well, the NDSU quarterback. I mean, I know you've always said he's more of a rushing QB, and the throwing has really come to the fore for him this year, and he's another. And they've just said he's been picture perfect with his throwing this week as well. Very few bad throws, very accurate, very consistent. He makes them at all three levels as well. And the FCS boy's been standing out.
Yeah, these camps are hard for Joe threat quarterbacks because a lot of the drills they're not running. They don't want the quarterbacks running. Like I said, they're not designing plays around them to scramble or to throw on the run or to design QB runs. A lot of them it is a line, a quarterback, a defensive line, and like I said, two DBs and two receivers. Like I say, it's battling. A lot of the QBs are there really to help the defensive backs and receivers. But yeah, Cam's been doing really well. Like I say, his processing's quick. He's getting the ball out nice. Like I say, he's showing that he can stretch the ball down the field. It's always been a question of him. Like I say, has he got that arm talent? Can he make all the throws? Is he a fast enough processor? Because they know he's got the tools. They know he's got the IQ. He's definitely got the footwork and the athleticism. Can he put it all together and keep it clean? Going up against some really good offensive and defensive linemen from higher levels than him. Has he got that calmness in the pocket when he's coming up against some bigger, more ferocious guys? And yeah, like I said, they're not flustering him. They're not affecting his throws or putting him off his stride.
No, absolutely. No, the FCS boys have been doing themselves proud, but then the other guy, and honestly, you have to
I've
say
heard the
he's
most about him.
an intriguing prospect is Kyle McCord, right? Like
He's going to get taken quite high, I think.
the most prolific thrower in the nation. Nearly 4,800 yards he threw for last year, and like he was a high level commit to Ohio State. he had, by the numbers, a pretty good year at Ohio State before he transferred. This wasn't like he completely flamed out and left. This is a guy with pedigree who always people saw they had the tools, but you've watched him, like the spirals that he throws, they're tight, they're compact, they're fast, they that ability to expose those really narrow corridors and just zip it in there. But like he's shown the entire arsenal this weekend. You talk about guys who can do it all in terms of throws. Like you've seen him on the screens. They're quick. They're fast to the chest. They need to be exactly where they are. The deep spirals downfield in a breadbasket. And you're thinking this is a guy who, when he was starting at Ohio State, people said first round pick, top 10 pick. Then he went to Q's and everyone just seemed to forget about him. But he's not there to be forgot about. He's shown you why he was so highly regarded in the first place. He's coming off a great season and he's not slowing down.
No, I say he made a like it didn't go bad at Ohio State, like you say. It wasn't a disaster. He didn't fall out of face. He didn't disgrace himself, and the fans, they were right. Like you say, a lot of them wished him well. He made a good decision in the portal. A lot of question marks were chosen when he chose Syracuse. A lot of them thought, well, that's a big downgrade. But like I say, an insanely talented receiving core. The Orange had, like I say, playmakers on all sides of the ball. Like I say, he had an absolutely great year. Like you say, they put him in offense that perfectly suited his skills. He wants to stand in the pocket, so give him an offensive line that can form a dome around him, and then let him step up and, like you say, not throw off the back foot. And like you say, he's able to then deliver bombs all down the field. He's got one of the best arms in the draft. Like I say, he can go short, intermediate, but he can go 50, 60 air yards, and he can drop it in the bucket if needs be. Like I say, when he's throwing towards the sideline, he doesn't overthrow. He doesn't generally overthrow, underthrow a lot of stuff. The balls are there to be competitive. Like I say, yeah, he is going to be one of the biggest surprises of draft. I believe he'll be taken a lot higher than people thinks he will be. Someone will look at him and think there's something there to work with, and maybe he's a guy that could be a future star in the league. And yeah, he has looked very composed this week. He's shown the arm, he's shown leadership, and like I said, just a 1.5, 2.5 seconds, the ball can come out very quickly. He processes very quickly. Like I say, sometimes he's always been accused sometimes of rushing. Like I say, he always plays the game like 100 million miles an hour. But I say it's slowing down for him, and I think he has got a credible opportunity to be drafted at least as a backup. Could have a long, good career as an NFL backup.
I think it's just, and it annoys me when people say, "Oh, the QB class is terrible." Like, it's like it's not. There's plenty of good QBs who, with the
A
right
lot of question marks. They
development,
just need to land in the right
yeah,
place.
exactly. They need the right development. Like I said with Kyle McCord, you don't draft him as a day one starter. You draft him as a guy who you're going to, like we're doing with Hendon Hooker, you keep him in your system for a year or two, you get him accustomed to what you do, you give him some snaps every now and then potentially down the line, you've got yourself a starter out of nothing. That's all he needs. It's what a lot of these quarterback needs. The same with Max Brosmer or Cam Miller. There's nothing to stop them being a guy in the NFL going forward. You've just got to land them in the right system behind the right guy and integrate them in. So I'm glad these guys have shown out, and this is why I like the Shrine Bowl because this is where you find the prospects who just nobody talks about and everybody forgets about, and these three especially have had really good weeks. In terms of the running back rooms. Two very standout prospects this week, and right, I know it gets harder and harder to not love him, but Taj Brooks continues to be I mean, just amazing, doesn't he? I know he's shorter at 5'8", I think, at 230, but he's built like slim, like Shady used to be. And that can work in the NFL, but from everything he's showing that, it is a deep running back class and he might slip to whatever and someone's gonna get themselves a guy who can start day one. Like he's not shied away this week.
No, like I say, he's someone that he fits the new mold of what teams are looking for. They're very happy to take guys under 5'10". Like I say, this guy is a bowling ball. He's got legs like tree trunks. He's got vice-like grip. The ball security over the years has been absolutely stellar. All them touches and very rarely puts the ball on the ground. And the Raiders have always been better with him than they have been without him. And he's looked very composed this week. He's very good at running between the tackles. Like I say, he's patient. He waits for the block to develop, and then when the hole comes or it appears to himself, he forces himself through it. He's very north and south kind of guy. Like you say, he's short but he's stocky. Like you say, he wants to get through. And then, like I say, Trey potentially gets to the next level, and he's shown that this week. Like I say, the handoffs have been clean, and like I say, he's making guys miss, and he's getting to the second and third level. He's never had the home run speed. It's never been his game. It's and not necessarily he will get better at catching passes as well, but it's primarily like I say short yardage or a first down kind of guy. He can be a hammer. I fully trust him in that sense. Like I said, despite the lack of size and weight, I trust him to be a capable guy that can churn out the hard yards, especially in the tackle and in the run box, and he's shown that. Yeah, in this year, it's looking like a really deep class. You've got a short top end, and then you've got a myriad of guys that
Yeah.
could go anywhere, and he's somewhere in that chaotic mess, and they're just try to claw their way out and try to separate themselves.
I think the early indications are day two is going to break a record for running backs this year.
Yeah, there will be
Um,
a once Cam Scatterbo goes, and like say Omari and Hampton go, and then like you say your Ollie Gordons, your Taj Brooks, they'll be
they'll be able to
calling
play.
running backs left, right, and centre. Between rounds 3 and 5, you will see what 90 picks. You could see 20, 25 running backs taken.
They could be the most represented group in that phase, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But th this is just how good it's been, and Taj Brooks is just he's gonna find himself a home,
It's
and
not the
people
year
are
to
gonna
reach for a running back.
no,
Once Ashton John is gone, that's fine.
yeah, and you know you've probably got Judkins, Hampton, and Giunti up in that little and Scat in that little
Yeah.
column by themselves. How many go in the
Some of
first
them
round?
will
I
go
don't
too
know.
high. Some of them will panic teams
Yeah.
because, but like I say, if you wait, you will
You
pick
can
up an Extella guy.
But the crazy thing is, you can pick up yourself a 1-2 combo in day three this year. You probably could.
Yeah. If you've got 7 or 8 draft picks this year, you can draft 2 running backs.
Oh
You'll
god,
hit on
yeah.
one of them.
Oh god, yeah. And you might get two. Who knows? Appreciate your Grandizer putting the names up as we go, and there is a lot to go through. But Grandizer goes, he'd love to have Taj Brooks on his Finns team. The other
See,
guy
you could
who's
let
really been
Craig
showing
Reynolds
out.
walk, and you could bring Taj Brooks in.
For us, absolutely. But for me, the guy I'd give to the Finns is the other one who's been showing out. Rocket Sanders has had a great week. And the way Miami play, they value speed. And Rocket's one of the quickest running backs in this draft, but he's also a hella underrated receiver. And by all accounts, his receiving's been getting a lot of attention this week, and he's been catching a lot of the stuff that's been getting thrown his way. But Rocket is really underappreciated, and I do like him from his Arkansas days. Him and KJ back in 2022 were an absolute unstoppable tandem for the Razorbacks, and I would love to see him go to the Dolphins. I think he'd be a perfect scheme fit for there, and he would absolutely flourish in that system. But Rockets had his day as well. Moving down into the receivers, and I mean, we've got to start with him, right? Right? He comes from the school of Cooper Kupp, but everything I see about Efton
Efton
Chisholm
Chisholm.
is he is a route running menace, he is a technical menace, he is a hands catching menace, just all the things you need from him. Like if you're a small school guy, you've got to show technique, you've got to show the ability to run routes, you've got to try and separate yourself from these guys at the higher level who might just use speed and strength and stuff to win. You've got to be the technical guy, and you watch him all week. Like the guy's an absolute master at his craft, and like he's getting drafted probably a lot higher than maybe people thought.
Yeah. When you're a guy like from a school like him and you're at his size, you've got to do the fundamentals and the basics well. And that's what he does. He doesn't waste movement. I can't wait to watch him do a 3 cone because he wastes very little movement. He's kind of a bang, 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 turns the corner, like say, cuts, makes the break on the route, and he leaves guys for dead. Like you say, he's short. Like you say, he's strong. He's compact. But like you say, he's hard to get hold of, and he's just nifty. Like you say, he's like a little jitterbug in that slot. Like you say, he's going to do a lot of good stuff. He is going to get a lot of balls short of the sticks or coming out of like say those 5, 10 yard routes. And then when he turns upfield and he's 1-on-1, he's going to make a lot of guys miss. A lot of guys are going to be clutching thin air trying to get hold of him. And I fully think as well, he will probably have some serious punt or kick return yardage. I'd put him on for punt return this year. He's got the ability and the experience of being an excellent returner. I think he could really do well and make a name for himself in that aspect, and then grow as a receiver. But yeah, he's very clinical. Like I say, he doesn't make huge splash plays, but like I say, catches most balls that come his way. He's very reliable. He catches with his hands, not his body, because obviously he doesn't have the big frame. So a lot of the balls have got to be in and around the radius it's got. But like I say, snags them. He's got good ball security, and then he always looks to turn upfield. He does not shy away from contact, despite being 5'8", like 190 pounds.
No, absolutely. You know, he is the real deal. He might not be Cooper Cup level, but he's NFL level, and you know he should be in day two conversation probably, and you should be quite happy getting a guy of his caliber there. In terms of other receivers, I mean, your boy took one of the best catches of the week, Will Shepherd. Did you see that grab in the end zone, the one-hander he got? I can't remember who he was against, but look at me, that thing was great. But he again, another who has had a great week by all accounts, and again, just such an enticing prospect.
Yeah, he's the one thing for him with this week was he had to stand out from the other Buffaloes. Because obviously, like I said, between the Shrine and the Senior Bowl, you've got Wester. Like I said, we've seen Hunter. Like I said, you've got him. And we've seen Jimmy Horn. Like I said, they're all there. And that's a good thing for them, but it can also be a bad thing because they're all kind of like just crowding each other out. Like I said, Will Shepherd had to prove that he would be able to separate them from. And the thing he's got is he's got that slender six. Did he come in at just under 6'2"?
I think, yeah, he's
Yeah.
6'1", I think he came
Yeah.
in at.
He's got a decent frame, like I say, but yeah, he's got a good catch rate. He's got nice arms and decent hands, like I say. He's got a good ability to catch the ball away from his body, shown by the interception, like shown by the touchdown. Like I say, that he's able to control his body and he's able to then also extend his arms. Also got good grip and can go through the process of a catch. So I like Will Shepherd. I think he's a good, solid day three prospect for someone that's like I said looking for a wide receiver, 4 or 5 right now that will probably grow in future.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like what he has as well, and I love what I've seen from him this week. The receivers have been pretty good on the whole. The Miami ones, I know George was it George had a day and a half against Shiloh. I know you shouldn't have a go at safeties in one-on-one coverage, but it was Sam George, I think it was, made him look stupid. But Jackson Meeks has done very well for Syracuse. He's had himself a week and a half, and who was the other one who's so yeah. The really intriguing Keandre Lambert Smith. The separation he's been getting this week, it doesn't feel like he's achieved his potential in college. 'Cause he's been at Penn State, then he's been at Auburn. Not exactly the creme de la creme of quarterback passing play in his direction. And you've watched him this week, and you're kind of getting vibes of what, oh God, the Georgia receiver was last year. The one Matt loved. Oh God, his name has come out from under me, but he, the way he's ran this week, he's looked elite all week here. Again, the separation's going to do big for him. If he can do that again, you know, during the game and if his pro days and everything go well, I'm not sure where he's going to go here, but like he's one of those who could give you day one value, maybe day two, day three. But Keandre Lambert Smith, again, as separation goes, he's had one of the best weeks by a long distance.
Yeah, he's backing up what I've seen on tape in game. It's the ability to get in behind corners. Like I say, he is one of those guys that it doesn't matter if you try to like jam him at line of scrimmage or if you give him like a 7 to 10 yard cushion. He's happy to work with either. Like I say, he'll outmuscle you at line of scrimmage and then he'll take off, or he'll try go straight past you. Got double move. He's one of the best deep ball receivers in the draft. Like I say, as you mentioned, that he's not got guys draped all over him because he can get that 1.5 yards he needs that gives the quarterback the time to put the ball towards the sideline where only he can get it. Either he gets it or he goes incomplete because, like I said, there's not guys around him. They're not grabbing his jersey, not got hands all over him because he managed to get away from him. So he just creates space for himself, and that means at next level there will be splash plays because
Yeah.
he will beat guys off the line of scrimmage. And once the ball is in his hands, like I said, in the separation he gets, it can be game over. I see he can be taken to the house. So he could be one of those kind of guys that might not get a ton of catches, but he could probably break off a pretty big touchdown on any given one of them.
Yeah, someone wants a developmental X receiver this year. He's one of the guys you go to straight away because he will fill that role for you in a pinch. Tight ends. There are three names I've seen this week from the Shrine Bowl, and three names only. One more so than the other two. Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech. Everybody's been talking about him, but then Aronde Gadsden as well. We always knew he was going to be like he's one of the best tight ends going from Syracuse. But then Luke Lackey, the Iowa tight end, I think he's been showing out a little bit more as a receiver than he has done in college, and his blocking's always been to par as you thought they would. But again, some of these, like Conyers especially, people haven't stopped talking about him all week, and this was a name who was not very much talked about before this week.
No, didn't have a ton of college production, despite big frame and also playing at some big schools that had strong passing offenses. Struggled to integrate himself into them at times. Like I said, but he's a good athlete. He's got good size. He's got good speed. He has got a route tree that can be expanded. There is a lot of potential there with him. Like I say, he's raw talent, but he's got all the tools. He's got a good IQ. Like I say, he's been some good schemes. He can block when asked to block as well. Like I say, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. Just doesn't excel at anything. But he's a fairly blank canvas. And on the flip side, Gadsden, like I say, premier receiver. He's shown that, like I say, in his one-on-ones, the separation or the ability to like box guys out and win the physical catches, very good. I think someone's going to turn him into a receiver. I think someone will
Mm.
basically make him a full-time receiver. I don't want him blocking because that feels like a waste of talent with him. Like Isaiah Likely, like I say, I'm not going to ask him to block because in college he was like chaffing. I'm not going to ask him to block. Like I say, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to give them what they do best. I'm going to put him in the slot. I'm going to put him in the line, but I'm asking him to run routes. And Aronde can run some of the cleanest routes out there, and his ability to high point the ball is very good. And then yeah, Luke Lachey, the guy that an afterthought after college purely because of everything he was not asked to do, because either they thought he couldn't do it, or the offense was, well, a lot of the time so stagnant and just so run out orientated that he didn't get the opportunities to do it. So he really is an unknown factor. Can he catch? Can he run routes that are more than 3, 4 yards down the field? I say, is the ability to can he catch a linebacker in his face or a safety all over him? Can he fight through contact? Things up until this point we've not seen him do, and we've not seen him really asked to do. So he has got a big, he's got a chance to actually go make a name for himself because of things like say he's a relative unknown in a tight end class that's fairly strong, and obviously come from a serious pedigree of what people class as tight end U. Puts a lot of pressure on you when you look at the recent, like say, production that Iowa's produced at that position. So yeah, he's definitely got big shoes to fill. He's not the same kind of player as Kittle or Laporta were, but like I say, maybe there's potential there for a guy that can become a really good blocker, and then you kind of just work on the receiving game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what this is about. You need to show that you can do both in the modern NFL. If you want to go high, anyhow, there's still room for the blocking tight end, but if you can show you can catch, that will do wonders for your stocks. In terms of the offensive line, I mean, there's been quite a few good offensive line performances this week, but this is all again about the small school guys who really have been showing there. I know your guy Marcus Ware from Montana State, they've been playing him at center
Yeah,
this week.
kicked him
And
inside
he's
and
been
snapping.
absolutely kicking ass at center this week. I mean, what is he, 6'2", just a smidge under
Yeah, he's
300?
fairly short.
So, I mean, it would probably be better for him to be there, but like his techniques sound fundamental again, but they've played him at center. And he's been having his way. I think there was one play against the Georgia DT that he just completely killed him on a pass pro snap. He just put him down in the dirt. But like we talked about him last week, he's going to have positional versatility at the next level. If he can play center as well, that's a dream for a team to have a guy who can play center and interior.
Yeah. If you're from a smaller school and or undersized, you've got to be able to play more than one position. Is it? There's a lot of coaches out there that will prioritize a guard that can play center, so you don't have to have a backup center on the roster. Or on your 58, you've got a guy like a Graham Glasgow that can, if shit hits the fan and emergency is needed, you can plug him in and he'll get you through to the end of the game. comfortably snapping balls. He's worked on snapping. Like you say, he's comfortable. He'll build a relationship. And he's also very comfortable with, like you say, looking down. Like you say, and then snapping the ball and being able to use the pop, get the hands up straight away. Because snapping, like I say, centre and guard, totally different. One of them you starting looking down at the ground. One of them you're facing the guy in front of you. So to be able to rotate between them is two totally different kind of techniques, and it asks a lot of people that are able to play them both to a high level. So yeah, if he can be a solid centre, like you say, his stock automatically will rise maybe a whole round.
Yeah, and and you look at some for fit maybe for us. We need a long-term center. We need a guard. He puts himself in the conversation maybe for coming this way, and I know for the fact he plays like he's, someone owes him money. Like he will
Yep.
absolutely bury you.
He's a run game more, like I say, so he's very much someone that'll fit what we want to do.
Absolutely he will. And then just in terms of the other small school guys here, because there's a few. So, I mean, the one I've been really intrigued with is Gareth Warren. So he's the Lindenwood tackle.
Yeah.
So he's 6'5", 330, but he's played at like they've not shoved him inside this week. He's been playing at tackle this week, and I think he's played him a bit at both. But again, I've seen precious few people get the better of him. He's incredibly strong. He's another who's technically very gifted. Got very quick feet as well for a tackle. And I've been looking around some people who've said he may even survive at tackle in the NFL. That's how well he's been doing. Again, another of the small school guys who has he's taken no rubbish this week. He's come in and he's dominated better opponents.
Yeah. Like I say, lining up against tackle against like SEC offensive linemen and edge rushers, that is not for the faint-hearted when you come from, like say, a Division Two school. These are, like say, they're not necessarily, well, he's seen guys this size, but he's not seen them this well taught, not like this with these level of techniques, these level of pass rush moves, the skills the Arsenal have, but none of it's phased him. Like you say, he's held his own in the drills. Like you say, he's got down and dirty. He's got physical with them. Like you say, he's given them everything he can. And then on the drills where they're in live offense, like you say, he's shown he can, like say, get off his block, disengage, and if it's his job or if it's the next level, mobility. Like I say, to get him out on a screen or get to the next level, he's very comfortable at once he's done his job, looking for the next job and then moving towards. Like I say, he's not that big. Like I say, he's tall, but he's not too tall. He's not too heavy. So there is a bit of a good agility and footwork to him. He shows a level of urgency when there is the opportunity to get forward. When he knows the ball is out of the QB's hands, he will then march forward where given the opportunity.
Yeah, and like I would get him as a tackle in the draft. So again, there will be a lot of eyes on the Lindenwood project there now. The Minnesota Duluth guard Aiden Williams has come in. He's looked really good. He's especially good against the bull rush. We've got quite a few guys who tried to bull rush him this week. Not one of them beat him. But then we have the really intriguing one that everyone's talking about, and that is Thomas Perry from Middlebury. That's the Division 3 guy who's been there. So by all accounts, the first day he struggled a hell of a lot because he's a Division 3 guy moving up to SEC and Big 10 and Big 12 opposition and stuff like that. Day two, they moved him inside to center and he's been unstoppable since then. And, that's probably where he's projecting now. I don't know where he played down in Division 3. I for all intents and purposes, thought he was a tackle. He's a little bit bigger, 6'2", 311, so that's actually kind of a perfect weight for a center. But like even the Division 3 guy, right? Like I don't know if you've seen much of him, but the snaps I've been seeing of him at center, he's been absolutely unflappable. He took one day to adjust, and then he's right at home. And again, if you're one of these smaller school prospects coming to weeks like this, you can be afforded a bad day when you get there because again, you're adjusting to the climate. If you come out the next day, you've learnt your lessons, you know where you're at, and you come out and dominate, that is a really positive sign going forward. And the Division 3 lad, he looks a baller. And everyone remembers the last Division 3 guy to come through the Shrine Bowl, Quinn Miners, who's one of the highest paid guards in this league now. It is not impossible that he could be the next NFL product out of Division 3.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's definitely earned his respect. I think for him it's a big respect thing. He wants to come here and he wants the D1 guys to respect him. Like I say, some of them will have heard where he came from, probably scoffed, probably like, yeah, he's not at our level. We can pick on him, we can push him round. Like I say, we should be able to have our way with him. But no, that's not been the case. As you say, shorter, heavier, better base. Like you say, everything below the waist is sturdy, solid as a rock. He has got an anchor, which if he's going to play centre or inside guy, he needs that because as you say, guys are trying to just use raw power and speed, and that don't work against shorter guys with a strong base because they're able to stand their ground. You can't get underneath them, so you can't force them up with leverage. Leverage won't work against this guy. You're going to have to find a way to, like say, go around him or use a move on him. Going through him will be very difficult. So he knows how to use his body. He understands his game. Like I say at centre, he probably understands that might be the best position for him at the next level. If not, at least a part-time centre, part-time guard. So he'll quickly find his niche and finds out what he needs to, where he needs to be and who needs to be here for him to succeed. But yeah, there'll be a lot of guys watching out there. If for any reason he doesn't have his name called, and round seven passes, I expect his form will be off the hook of invites to come to the practice squad. And he'll have his choice of a
Yeah.
lot of teams in the league. And maybe that will be better for him to look at the teams, look at what needs they have, look at their coach, and look at the kind of system they run. And then maybe he can crack one of them rosters.
Oh, absolutely. I've got like he did well in both drills when he was combo blocking, when he was one-on-ones. He just looked damn confident. Like, he wasn't there to make up the numbers. So certainly one to keep an eye on. And hopefully he gets an invite to the combine. Like the combine's going to be big as well, so he can go and chat to everyone. Like say, find the right team for him if he's not drafted, and then hopefully you will see him going forward. But we had a CFL player drafted last year. Who knows? In terms of other tackles outside of the FCS guys and that, there's been a few good performances this week. I know I've seen a lot of good things about Holland Pierce, the left
Yeah, the
tackle from
Rutgers guy.
Rutgers. I love him. I absolutely love him to death. He's huge. He's like 6'8". I
He's
know there've
massive.
been, yeah, he's 6'8". He's huge. But he has looked absolutely unflustered this week. I know. The one everyone's been talking about, though, in terms of the senior ones, from what I've seen, Bryce Cabledew, the Kansas right tackle, left tackle. He's been playing interior this week because he's a bit small, and everyone says he's going to be the next Dominic Puny. But again, you
The
kind of hard to
Jayhawks are
deny
having
with
good
that.
Shrine and Senior Bowls.
They are. We'll talk about one of the corners in a bit when we get there, but Cabledew's been doing very well there. And then even the 6'9" monster from Oregon State, Christian Lichtonen, I know he's been getting a lot of love this week as well, and they've put him inside at guard. Um, which may seem weird, but I mean they're making Daniel Falele work. He was 6'8" out of Minnesota, and they pushed him into guard. And the Ravens have, like, I'm amazed how they've just slotted him in because he looked bad when he started in the NFL, and he looks flawless now. So maybe they'll pick him there. Are there any other offensive linemen you want to shout out before we move on to defense?
Uh, is it Essa Pauls?
Oh, Esapol from Washington State.
Yeah, he's looked very solid. Like I say, he looks like a guy that could be a rotational guy at a tackle position at the next level. He's strong, got a good build. He's very comfortable. Like I say, he's looked good. He's held his own in a lot of drills as well.
Absolutely. Esapol has had a really good week there. I know a few have gone home injured. No, this is the senior bowl roster I'm looking at. We will get to that in a bit. Yeah, we will leave that for now. Let's switch on to the defensive side of the ball. In terms of guys who've really been standing out on the defensive line this week, it was, well, if you just bear with me 1 minute here. It was the DT from South Carolina. So Tonka Hemingway has been he's been making waves this week from the interior. Probably one of the best D tackles here. He's one of the few who's been making offensive linemen really struggle. Had him on my list of players that I wanted to watch, and he's certainly been out on there. I know the BYU edge has done really well as well. Tyler Batty.
Tyler Batty.
I don't know as much about him, but I was actually quite impressed by how well he was doing this week. He's made a good case for himself again in what is an incredibly strong edge class.
Yeah. He's a big guy as well. Like you say, he's good. He's fairly solid against the run. Like you say, but he's also shown he's got a flash to make splash plays in the backfield. Very proficient for the Cougars. One of their is a leader as well. Like I say, I'm pretty sure he's been a captain at some point there. He's a guy that people respect. He's someone, like I say, that very rarely left the field. And I respect guys that have got high level motors that can play at least three downs in every kind of sequence. And he's a guy that has got the ability to set the edge against the run, but also can win around the outside. Despite lacking top end athleticism and bend, he is able to go up against guys and he's able to win. But yeah, Todd Hemingway, like I say, South Carolina now in recent years, from the inside, he's been a sack machine. And then obviously getting like 4 or 5 sacks a year doesn't sound a lot, but when you're like say a heavier guy and you're kicked inside nearly all the time and you're taking on double teams and winning, Todd Hemingway, he is a guy that can get to the quarterback. He's a finisher. He's got that kind of that nose. He's a bit of a bloodhound. A lot of his interior guys, they just don't have it. They're happy to play against the run. They're happy to take up space. They're happy to like swallow it up. But some of them, like I say, they just don't have that aggression. They don't have that drive to then go up, go through, and then also he's got pursuit. He goes after a guy. Like you say, he doesn't just kind of, my job's done. Like you say, he wants to play it when now and then. I got a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of the other edges, so the Cal Poly edge, Elijah Ponder. So people were wondering about him. He's a bit smaller. He's 6'3", 250, but he has done because people are thinking he might be a Sam linebacker in the NFL, or someone would train him there because people are concerned about his run defense setting the edge. He's not looked flustered all week. One of the best things he has done this week is setting the edge against some of these ginormous tackles he's coming up against, these 6'8", 6'9" guys. He's apparently has dispelled a lot of fears about his game and his ability to play on the edge at the NFL level. So Elijah Ponder has really done well. And then the standout from the bigger names here, out of SMU, Elijah Roberts. I mean, he should probably be at the senior. I don't know if he is a senior, but this feels like he's a big fish in a small pond here. He's had an absolutely phenomenal season for SMU, and very few tackles this week have had his number. He's kind of made a mockery of everyone he's come up against. I would expect him to go in day two, quite high day two, and he will not be out of place there, Ryan.
No, like I say, he's someone that, yeah, he's one of those guys that has come into this, like I say, with elite level production. Like I say, SMU, the last defense, ferocious. And it wasn't just him, like I say, he was part of a strong collective unit. They worked together to free each other up. Like I say, now he's here on his own. He ain't got his buddies with him. Like I say, he's kind of got to do it on his own. And he's showing that he has got a strong nose and pass rush arsenal. He's a guy that can live out on the edge. Against the run, I'm not entirely sure. Like it's a king side. But if you're a guy, you're looking like say two bookend pass rushers. He can be one of them. Like you say, he's got good physical, violent hands. He likes to pop, and he's able to drive a force guy back. So yeah, if he's not getting a sack, he's able to interrupt and influence the play.
Absolutely. I really look forward to seeing who takes him. But like he's gonna have a great combine. He's athletic as anything. And he's really backed up his performances here. So I'm really looking forward to Elijah Roberts and his career there. Is there anyone else on the D line you want to mention? Are there any other names you've got down? Or should we move on to linebackers?
Tyler Barron, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
he's looked quite good. Like I say, as a general pass rusher, I've been quite enjoying watching him. Like I say, he wasn't a huge name at Miami. It felt like you say he always kind of went a bit under the radar, but he's someone that I have enjoyed watching. Like I say, I think he could be someone. He doesn't have a lot of college production, like I say, but he did do some stuff at Tennessee. Like I say, he's got some good size, a good frame. He's had a decent week of practice as well.
Yeah, absolutely agreed there. Right, let's move it on to linebackers. And there's one name more so than anyone else, and I've seen this name all week. Chandler Martin. out of Memphis. So he was an East Tennessee. He started his career at East Tennessee State, another FCS guy who's come up to Memphis in the American. He was an All-American last year. He's another one of these, right? The sub 6 foot linebackers. I think he's 5'11". He's about 230 pounds, if I remember rightly. He's like 230, 235, something like that. But these undersized linebackers in recent years, you've seen Nick Bolton come through. You've seen who's the one who's the Eagles one, Kobe Dean. You've seen him come to the fore this year. These undersized linebackers who are doing it in the NFL, and with Chandler Martin this week, they've been showing him in coverage, like his coverage skills as a smaller linebacker. They were matching him up against Sam Brown, the speedster from Miami, and there were like two plays, one where he picked him off, the other where he punched the ball out as soon as he got it in his hands, and he actually looked really handy in coverage, which is something he's not had a chance to do maybe as much at Memphis. But again, another one of these undersized linebackers. You look at him and you're like, don't take the size into account. He's done his way the hard way from the FCS school. He's come up, he's made a mockery of the American and the skill level in there, and he's come up against the Power Five guys here, and he's made a mockery of them as well.
Yeah, like I say, the new age of that smaller, better, like say flipping their hips, happier to drop into coverage, but also you're able to blitz them. Like you say, you come up with these design packages where you're able to get them through a hole and make sure it's clean. And when they do, then usually, like say, they're coming through at a rate of knots and they're getting to the QB. So a lot of these guys, they have speed. They've got the able to turn. They're able to diagnose plays very quickly and come in like a missile. Like I say, I've been very impressed with him. The linebacker play in general, East West. There's been some fantastic linebacker play in general.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. So a lot of the chat has also been about oh, it's Dumar Johnson, isn't it? Not Johnson Dumar, the Kentucky one. I keep getting his last
Yeah.
name mixed up. I think it's Dumar Johnson. He's also like he's one of those who's just he's a live wire. You just see him running here, there, everywhere. You talk about linebackers who would do it all full of energy and everything. He has been absolutely flying around the place. His tackling looks good. His read and react is really good. You know, in the run game, he's looked great. And you don't bet against that Kentucky defense, especially the linebackers. The DBs are usually very good, and he's looking no exception to the rule there. Who was the other linebacker who I'd been
Teddy,
impressed with? Yes,
Teddy
yes,
Buchanan.
this he's oh. I don't know. I feel like a linebacker for us. I look at some of these linebackers. I'm like, I want to use you because I came into this
He's
waiting
very
for.
strong in coverage, like I say. He's so comfortable picking up like a tight end or a guy out there. Like I say, it doesn't phase him at all.
No, no, it doesn't. He's looked really good. Teddy Buchanan from Cal.
Good blitzer as well, like you say. He generates pressure.
Yeah, you don't sometimes get as much a chance to. They don't show the linebackers blitzing and stuff for this a lot. They kind of drop. Everyone wants to know how good they are in coverage. That's what people want. They want coverage linebackers at the next level. Like Dion Henley last year. That's what everyone is after. And then we go into the corner room, and I'll hand this over to you because I know exactly who you're going to go to here. Who do you like has been good at corner this week?
Well, a lot of people, one of the biggest rise of the week has got to be is Kobe Bryant. If you're going to get named like that, you've got to be good. If you're going to be named after the Mamba, like you say, yeah, he is. He's like glue. Like you say, like 5'11", like 190, 195. Like you say, he's got the average prototypical build. Like you say, he's very handsy. He's strong in coverage. Like you say, he mirrors routes really well. Like you say, he's not too grabby. Like you say, and he's shown that in like one-on-ones, he's able to put himself between guys and the ball. Like you say, he's very comfortable. He's broken up passes. Like you say, he's getting close. Like you say, he's always kind of got a nose for the ball. Like you say, run the route for the receiver. Like you say, he's done a great job of, like you say, just being a nuisance, just making them know that, like you say, the on the back at the nape of their neck is his breath. You're just not going to get a lot of separation from him. Like you say, he's very sticky. Like you say, he's great off the line of scrimmage. Like you say, it's very hard to fool him. Like you say, he's got a good recovery. He's good second step. The hips are very clean. He's probably one of the best corners in the draft this year that won't go in the first round.
I mean, he turned up at 171. Like he's I equate him to Scrappy Doo.
He is
Like
slender,
he's
yeah.
tiny, but you watch him play, and I know he's had quite a few flags thrown on him this week. He's like Terry on. He's sticky in man coverage, but for all the plays that he
He's
gets
hyper
wrong, and this
aggressive,
is
like you say,
this
yeah.
is practice, but that's what the NFL wants right now. You want hyper aggressive man corners who, once they've sort of sandpapered off the rough edges, are just going to make life for receivers who like getting
Yeah.
separation and
Sauce
like
Gardner, like
living
you
that
say, he
way.
was way too aggressive as a rookie. I know he won a lot of awards, but he also, like you say, he always felt like he could be heavily penalised.
Yeah, he did, and that's what Kobe's like for me. He's like Scrappy Doo. He will not back down from any fight
He's
against
super
any
experienced as
sized.
well.
Yeah,
Him and Melo have got so many games under their belts, them two have played together a long time.
I know. His hand size came in small as well, didn't it? Because they said, "Oh, can he do it?" But when he's picked off quite a few this week, and you're like, "Well, doesn't look like those small hands are
Yeah,
bothering him." So
it's not going to hold him back whatsoever.
no, and that's the good thing about this. They've done his measurements and that. They've sent him out there and he's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. So again, you realize this, but Kobe Bryant, like he's been the name this week, hasn't he? When you've had corners, like a lot of the other corners out there have not really had much said about them because everybody's been talking about him. I mean, I guess we can just put this into the DBs group, but I know the other one who's gotten a lot of love in the DB rooms is the UNC one, Elijah Huzzy.
Yeah, the small
He
guy,
again, yeah, another smaller guy
five
there.
nine. But that's a
Um,
Meek Robertson size, isn't it?
he's 5'9", but he is just a smidge under 200 pounds. He's quite a big one. He's like a two-time All ACC player. Again, he's another from East Tennessee State. You talk about Chandler Martin from East Tennessee State. Elijah Huzzy is from there as well. But he dealt really well with the speed receivers, like the quick slot guys who were here. And again, if you go and play a Meek in that slot position, something like that, that's exactly what you want. But he's also looked incredibly good this week.
Yeah. Like you say, he's getting a lot of the smaller receivers, but the guys that have got that next gear, like say out the slot, they're kind of they're gonna cut the one cut. Like I say, he anticipates when they're gonna make their cut very well to make sure that he's not getting left for dead. Like I say, he's got to preemptively jump when he thinks they're gonna break out their route and which direction. Because it is how, like I say, if he goes the wrong way or like I say stumbles the wrong step, like I say, it's game over. But like I say, he's got good balance because he's shorter. Like I say, he's got a good pack pedal. He's very compact, all his movements as well. It's very wasted. And like I say, when he then goes to decide and commit and flip, like I say, yeah, he's got a good guy and he's very comfortable trailing, like I say, and then getting the hands in. So and somebody tells me he's not shy at making a tackle, despite being
No,
5'9", like I say, and 195 pounds. He'll probably put his head in there. He's going to be very physical. He's going to bring a guy down, what, by any means necessary.
absolutely, he is. Another corner who was good, especially early in the week, Noel Williams from Cal. They showed you his reps with Ricky White,
Turnover
and
specialist this year as well, like I say, one of the
him
best in the nation.
him and Ricky White had a great series together. Like Ricky got him a few times, but then he was been super sticky in coverage. Like Ricky White's one of the first guys I'm going to profile in our draft things. Like I love him to death, and like Noel Williams was playing really well against him. They sort of got one another each in there, and you like to see these competitions. But Noel Williams, I'd not heard out about him in the last couple of days, but certainly in the first few, he was really good. Your boy from Arizona State's been doing well. Shamari Simmons has gotten a lot of love out of this as well. Again, people like the hard hitting, maybe
Yeah,
sometimes overly aggressive type safety, but I know a lot of good things have been said about Shamari Simmons this week.
yeah, like I say, he's a guy that's worked his way very much into being drafted. Like you say, he's a strong day three RAM right now. Like you say, good size. I think he measured up to like say what was expected of him. Like say 6'6", 6'6.5". Like say he's got decent weight to him. He's a thumper. Yeah, he doesn't hide what his game is. Like I say, he's a downhill north and south kind of guy that wants to lay the wood. Like I say, as good as that is, it also comes with bad traits, and he's trying to show the guys he's not a bad traits, that he's not lazy. Like I say, you don't want him missing tackles, you don't want him not wrapping up. So for him, it's all about showing, like I say, strong levels of technique. But yeah, he's good at jumping routes. He's shown, like I say, that he's able to track guys, and he's very comfortable in that kind of open middle field. Like I say, he can stick with guys, and he's very comfortable putting himself in the way of the ball. So yeah, I like him. Like I say, I think, especially like say it being a somewhat premier position now, strong safety at free safety right now in the league, he'll get some strong day three looks.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in terms of the small school DBs, I know they've all done very well this week. So you got Mike Smith Jr. from Eastern Kentucky. He's the safety from there. You got the cornerback Isaac Baxter from Villanova. He's looked really good. His hips look really good. Like his movement skills are really impressive. So that'll do well. If you can pick a few off maybe in the game, that'd be great. And then Tyron Herring from Delaware, he's their safety. He popped some running backs big time this week. He made some huge plays in the run game, so they've all done well considering they're small school guys. So yeah, they've all shown up. Is there anyone else you want to give love from in the DB room before we switch over to the Senior Bowl? Um,
Uh, I think I've been very impressed by them all.
yeah. The standard of again, I think the standard of play is much better at the Shrine Bowl than it is the Senior Bowl. Like
Yeah,
it's been in.
I've enjoyed watching. I obviously like to say the Senior Bowl gets like a lot more coverage.
Mm.
Everyone on Twitter talks about it. No one's talking about Shrine Bowl. It's all about Senior Bowl, and you've seen the splashy players. But like I say, especially the game as well. The game's just it'll be a lot more important to a lot of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just in terms of guys who've maybe not done so well, there's not many that I can't think off the top of my hands who've done well here.
I
All I
don't think
know
of any that
is
have like had disasters.
I think Shiloh's not had a good time of it.
No.
Now, again, putting safeties in, don't, you know, everyone's shown him getting cooked on one-on-one. Safeties don't do that usually, but he runs his mouth a lot and says he can do this, that, and the other. And then when he gets absolutely torn to shreds the way he does, kind of hits home a little bit more, doesn't it? That like, oh,
But I
really?
also knew
That
already.
good?
I think a lot of people anyway. He's not very good anyway.
No, I don't think he's getting drafted.
I
He's
don't think
gonna,
he's getting
he's gonna,
drafted. He wasn't getting drafted before. Definitely not getting drafted now. Honestly, I look at him. Would he have started for Arizona State? Nope. Highly doubt it. Don't think he'd have
yeah,
got in our secondary. I like I say, obviously, I can't say this, but like I say, if he's not called Sanders, if he's not his dad's son, honestly, the way Dion talks about them on Twitter, it's like he's not his son at all. Like he
yeah,
loves, it's like he loves Travis now way more than him. Honestly,
yeah.
it probably sucks being like the forgotten child. But yeah, yeah, he's strong as I am. He's a run safety. He will only ever be able to play strong safety in packages like that, where he can play against the run.
I
Don't
feel
want
like
him in coverage.
I feel like he'd benefit from a season in the USFL or something like that. Just go and get some game time, maybe on a
Yeah,
former
he
coach,
can
and then work your
he
way
needs driving.
back
He'll
in.
not. He can't see the field as a rookie.
No,
Yeah, it'll be on special teams. And even then, like you say, I don't know how much impact he'll make. I don't know how much coverage, special teams, kick coverage he played for the Buffs.
no, no, not at all. So yeah, that's our review of the Shrine Bowl so far, the practices and the guys we think have done well. So there's quite a lot of guys who've shown out this week. So a lot of guys going into combine season with a lot of momentum, and hopefully, again, a lot of these small schoolers are able to as well because they have all shown themselves worthy of getting that invite and getting in front of some of the bigger and better scouts in the draft coming up. So it's been fun. The game is tonight, as we've mentioned. So. We will talk about that next week. We'll do a little review of the game. I would do a play-by-play. I would do a live watch with it, but I don't know if we're going to get a stream over here for it. Hopefully we do, but we'll maybe do something like that in future. Right, let's flip it over. And as we mentioned, there are two big bowl games going on this week. The Shrine is the little brother of this. The big brother, of course, it's the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. This is the one that everybody goes to. Everybody goes crazy over. It's been plagued by dropouts this year. There has been a ton of roster turnover for this. So I've got the roster in front of me here. I've tried to adapt it as much as I can to people who I know are not there and, etc. But we will do our best with this. But what we're gonna go through the roster like we normally do by position, but we're just gonna pick one or two guys out who we like, and then we're kind of just gonna talk about some of the guys, like just like we've done now. We'll talk about some of the guys who've done well, some who've not done so well. We'll do the reviews as we go through it, so we don't do it twice. And obviously that will take a lot less time. So let's dive right down into this Senior Bowl roster, and we'll do it as we start from the top with the quarterbacks. And there's seven there this week. I'm not doing it by East and West team. I'm just doing the guys who were there. So we got Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. We got Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. We've got Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. We've got Jalen Milroe from Alabama. Tyler Shook from Louisville. Seth Hennigan from Memphis. And the guy we're going to start with first, because this is Ryan's area of expertise. Last year, we had a Canadian pass through the ranks, and a Canadian who went to the draft, and a Canadian who got drafted. We got another Canadian this year, Ryan. His name is Taylor L. Gersma, and he's from Laurier. I know you watch more CFL than I do. Do you know anything about this guy? What was your take on him? And again, what a big opportunity for him to impress in front of the biggest and the best.
Yeah, like I said, this guy, I believe he won the Heck Crichton Award, which I think is kind of like their U Sports Heisman. Like I say, so yeah, he's had a very good year. Like I say, he's the first U Sports quarterback I believe ever invited to Senior Bowl. Like I say, so by the Laurier Golden Hawks. Like I say, in Canada's collegiate system. Like I say, he's had a stellar year. He will be drafted in the CFL. Like I said, I can't find any mocks, but like I said, of the top 20 players they've got to watch, I've seen he's coming at 20 on this week's watch list, and they don't draft quarterbacks a lot in the CFL draft, especially not a lot of their own. A lot of them come from like I say, so yeah, he's very well respected. Like I say, he had an absolute stellar year this year. He's someone that is very experienced. Like I say, 6'5", 215 pounds. Like I say, he's a big guy. He's got a strong arm. Like you say, he's done really well. Like I say, he's very well respected above the border. And this week down here, he's had a really good year. So I've got some stats here. So 10,230 yards and 76 touchdowns in his career. And he also led his team to the Vanier Cup this year season, which is kind of believes like their national title game up in New Sports Canada. So yeah, the Vanier Cup. So he's someone that he's very strong. He's got a strong arm. He's mobile. Like I say, he's got a good frame. He's physical. Like I say, he protects the ball as well. Like I say, he only had 28 interceptions in I believe a 3 or 4 year career. So he doesn't turn the ball over. Not many turnover players. And this week, he's been really good. Like you say, he has looked very composed behind the offensive line. Like I say, he's been spraying the ball out. He's getting the ball out quickly. Like you say, he looks like a guy that's in command. Like you say, he's very vocal. And yeah, I think the interviews apparently have gone really well. I think they really like him. He seems a really likable guy, very humble. Like I say, but he's going to be interesting to see. Only 22, so he's not super old. Like I say, he's kind of in that, still got a lot of room to row. I fully expect a CFL team to draft him and an NFL team to draft him. They are going to have to share his rights. If you don't make the NFL camp, he will return to the CFL and maybe start this year. I'd imagine starting the CFL or a season of CFL play would probably do him better in the long run, like it did with just with Nathan Rourke. He only got all those workouts because he had such a stellar year at the BC Lions. I do think El Gersma will need that, or UFL, like I say, and do it in America. Like I say, if they're able, like I say. So I think, yeah, he's very interesting.
So you say he's from the Canadian collegiate system, not the CFL like Stiggers was.
Yeah, he's just a rookie. Like I say, he's just a student. So
Ah,
yeah, but
okay.
he will be drafted. Yeah, the CFL draft is in couple of months. He will be taken, and he will be taken fairly high. I'd be surprised that I think if I'm a general manager, I've got a couple of day three picks. I'm going to throw one at him. If I want him, like say, I will draft him. I'm not going to let him go undrafted because I might say, yeah, a lot of teams are trying to get him on their practice squad, and then you've got to share his, you don't own his rights as well compared to the CFL team. So I feel like he's going to be a sixth or a seventh round pick.
Yeah. Okay. So that is the Canadian prospect there, if you didn't know much about him before. In terms of the other quarterbacks, and then it comes to quarterbacks who's doing well, there's one who's generating a lot more, a lot more, how do they say it now? Oh God, enthusiastic conversation between the people who like him and the people who don't like him. But you've been an Old Miss guy for years. You've watched that team a lot. Now Jackson Dart is getting a lot of support from people in the know, powers there, whereas probably the average common person is not as high on him, and a lot of the fans who've watched him, a lot of the people not in the know that there, but he's getting a late push now. It feels like they're trying to push him into round one consideration. He's getting that treatment. Are you seeing this from him? Because he's, by all accounts, had a very good Senior Bowl week.
I get it. I'm not buying it, but I get it. He's only 21. He's considerably younger than a lot of the prospects already in this year.
But he's
He's played,
experienced.
yeah, his experience, like I say, he's got three like full seasons starting under his belt at an SEC school. Has he achieved a lot? No. Is that his fault? No, not really either. Like I say, they've disappointed the Rebels in probably all these seasons, but ultimately, the he will bear the brunt of it on his shoulders. But it wasn't down to him. The numbers he's put up are eye-popping. He's put up some wild numbers. Like I say, he has been blessed with incredible amount of talent, and a lot of guys just can't say that. Like I say, he's had some of the best players in the country walk through the doors in his time there. Like I said, he has got a live arm. He's got legs that he can use when he needs them. He's got a decent build. He's got youth experience. He doesn't have bad habits. He's got a lot of room to grow. And that means that he will get drafted, I think, quite high. Like I said, but he's
Mm,
got a lot. He's just done a lot and been around a lot for someone like say he came like you say into college football really young, and he was thrust in as a starter pretty much straight away, and it didn't seem to phase him then. Like you say, and he seems like say a fairly likable kid. Like you say, he's got a clever head on his shoulders, and he's been loyal to the Rebels when maybe he didn't need to be this year. Probably
mhm.
could have hit the portal. Like I say, probably was worth a fair bit in NIL. But yeah, if he snuck into the end of, if he was a top 50 draft pick, a top 40 draft pick, would I be surprised? No.
No.
If a team like the Rams took him, I wouldn't be surprised because he's got that Stafford kind of gunslinger mentality. And you're
Yeah.
maybe going to get one more year out of Stafford. So you don't have to start Jackson now.
Mhm.
Probably one of the best kind of quarterbacks he could learn from. And
Yeah.
Sean McVay, I think that'd be a really good fit. He's not a don't take him if you don't throw him in as a rookie. I'm
No.
sure he'll do fine, but that's usually a recipe for disaster, especially with a lot of quarterbacks in this. Like I say, just give him a year to bed in, and then I think he could surprise people.
Yeah, absolutely. One who's not done himself well so well though, because he's showing the same inconsistencies he did in college, Jalen Milrow. Now, there
The
are some,
footage is bad. There's a lot
yeah,
of bad clips online.
yeah, and this is his problem, right? I don't think anyone's doubting he's got the tools, and obviously he's got the dual threat ability in that. But at the end of the day, you've got to call it how you see it. He has been wildly inconsistent in college. He has been wildly inconsistent this week as well. It's inconsistency is the word of the day. If you drafted him, you're drafting him as a project. You are not letting him see the field in the NFL next year whatsoever. And again, this is just a theme now with him, right? He's coming to All-Star season. He's still looking the same as he did in college. It's just he's not finding the consistency he needs.
No, he's too he's too blows hot, blows cold. Like I say, we know he's talented. He knows he's talented. He can be a supreme athlete. Like I say, he can make magic happen with the legs. He can throw on the run, but he misses too much of the routine stuff. I watched a video where he misses like all five throws on the drive, and he didn't just miss them. Like this guy's running an out route, and this ball is like 5 yards over his head and 3 yards out wide. It's going into, like I said, it would have hit a water jug. It hit a Gatorade table. It was so the receiver didn't have a chance. And like I say, obviously it's painful, but for everyone around him, the receiver and defensive back, you're wasting their time as well. It's
Yeah.
incredibly frustrating. Like I say, when he's been so, it's the word is inaccurate. I've seen a lot of inaccuracy from this year, and like I said, he's another guy that someone will look at potential and they'll think, do you know what, I can fix him.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Absolutely.
taken very highly, and I fear for the team that does it.
Grandizer in regards to Dart says he reckons that the Raiders and Saints are possibly interested. That could maybe be something
Yeah,
where
you could
you
sit him behind
go,
Derek Carr.
yeah, yeah. If you're going to do that there, so possible that would be a better situation for him.
Yeah, and now
Again, you
you've got
don't really
Pete
want to
Carroll
see him.
there. I trust Pete Carroll over rookie quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you think he'd do well, so that's a good shout there, Grandizer. Let's move on to the running backs now. So the running backs at the Senior Bowl, you got LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, Donovan Edwards from Michigan, Trevor Etienne from Georgia, Ollie Gordon the second from Oklahoma State, R.J. Harvey from Central Florida, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, Woody or Jarquavius Marks from USC, Damian Martinez from Miami, Devin Neal from Kansas, Brashard Smith from SMU, Baishal Tootin, I love him from Virginia Tech, and then the small school guy Marcus Yarns from Delaware. Now, just on the pretty much every one of those guys is going to be drafted. There is no doubt about that. But the class this week there has been so much buzz about these guys, and there've been so many good individual performances, and maybe none more so, especially with today, than the former Doak Walker Award winner a couple of years ago, Ollie Gordon. He struggled a little bit. I think he had injuries sort of held him back a bit. Obviously, OK State were absolutely terrible this year, but there was a reason he was considered one of, if not the best running back in colleges at one point. And again, he's showing why now he's out of that Cowboy shadow.
Yeah, the tape doesn't lie. The measurables didn't lie either.
No.
Just under 6'1", 220 pounds. He is a specimen. Like I say, his style, yes, is it upright? Yes. Does he run like, say, like a sprinter that's holding a football at times? Absolutely. There are things you need to fix, like I say, where he's going to be easy to run down. But like I say, he is explosive. Like I say, he's got jump cuts. Like I say, he's got speed. He's got physicality. His game is probably one of the most well-rounded of all the backs in the entire class. Like I say, he's a guy that we have seen can carry the ball 225 times in a season. And yeah, not slow down. Take a pounding. Like I say, he's a physical back that doesn't shy away from contact. Another thing, take less contact. Like I say, he's a guy that's going to have to manage his body and look after himself at the next level. But we've seen guys like Derrick Henry manage to do it. It's not impossible for big backs to look after themselves and keep the wear and tear down. Yeah, like I say, the Cowboys this year were absolutely dreadful. Like I say, he didn't stand a chance for most of the season. Like I say, he was asking to do the impossible and try to save a team. But yeah, I think Ollie Gordon is going to be a very safe pair of hands. Like I say, if he hits and he lands in the right team with a good offensive line and a decent coach, like I said, decent offensive line coach and a run game coordinator, it wouldn't surprise me if he outrushes Ashton Johnny as a rookie. It'll
Yeah.
all be about the scenario he lands in.
Yeah. Again, with this rookie class, there could be one of 10 or 15 guys who end up
Yeah,
the next
like I say,
season in the
John is the
NFL.
star and the best. But if the Cowboys take him, honestly, I'm sorry. I feel
Good
sorry for you,
luck.
kid.
Good
Honestly, there's
luck.
a lot of bad teams that are going to take Ashton Johnny, and a lot of these guys, like you say, will land in better scenarios.
Absolutely. And, scheme specific running backs. We've seen with Jameer Gibbs, find the right home for the right guy. He's a game changer for you. And Gordon's one of those who's just going to come, you're going to get him at a stupid value. Like, I know
Yeah,
we've seen a lot of
I think
analysts
he'll
saying you're going
go.
to get guys at maybe 2 rounds discount. Like, you'll get a round three guy in round five, maybe even in round six, because there's that many of them. Ollie Gordon could fall right into that bracket. I think he could be a starter day one. And, you'll get him for a price which you're like, my God, really? Yeah, absolutely. Um, For those who don't know him, by the way, in terms of Marcus Yarns, the
I've
Delaware
seen a lot of him
quarter,
chat.
Delaware, yeah, so he's 5'11", 183, 2,500 yards rushing in his career for Delaware. He's been there 4 years. He's been a starter for three. He's been very steady. So it's 2,344 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, 23 touchdowns, exceptionally good with ball security. He's only ever fumbled the ball 3 times in his career, and he's a dual threat as well. He's got 900 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns, so he's a dual threat guy. Play him in the slot quite a bit. They actually play him out wide as a wide receiver as well. Enough to take notice. And again, at his 5'11", 183 frame, a very, intriguing possibility there. And one he will probably be a UDFA because of how many running backs there are. But in terms of other guys who've had good weeks, I mean, um, Brashard Smith has had a really good week.
Yeah. The little nifty
Really,
receiver, yeah, I'd say, yeah. He's an interesting one, like I say, because he made the transition, didn't he, from wide receiver to running back full time permanently this year. And it couldn't have gone any better for him,
no.
despite being so small.
Again, you figure, and I say this because Grandize is in the chat, but an identity of guys who might use these, you'd see a Miami system that would use him very, very well for what he is. 'Cause like I say, he can be a receiver as well, but he's small, he's nifty, he's quick, he's got a ton of productivity this year when he's got to it. Like he's had a really good week as well.
Jaquez
But
Hunter,
yeah, yeah,
I think as in the
underappreciated
NFL,
guy.
I think we'll probably see what we didn't see at Auburn. Despite all the good production and talent, it never materialized from there because it always felt like you say he was just carrying a side that was lackluster. He was never appreciated, was he, in the SEC?
No,
Despite because all the other backs were on good teams and they were winning, and he won't win in Pony. I feel like
yeah.
he will be a very good, like you say, change of pace back at the next level.
Yeah, and again, he can take a lot of carries. He's taken a lot of tap there at Auburn. Like you say, that passing attack is not good. They've ran it through him a lot. He's been a game winner for them on many of the occasions. This class is just stacked. Like, you got Byshell Tootin in there. I love Byshell Tootin. So he's the HBCU prospect out of North Carolina A&T. He's had 2 years at Virginia Tech, 40 touchdowns and 3,500 rushing yards in his career, and he's actually a pretty damn good receiver as well. But he's been good this week. It's stacked. RJ Harvey's been pretty good by all accounts. I've seen Donovan Edwards throwing touchdown passes. Maybe, not part of the repertoire, but maybe, he'll end up in Chicago now because of that. But again, it's just, and Damian Martinez has done well as well. So again, this class of running backs is just stupidly good, I think is safe to say there. We'll move it on to the receivers now. So the receivers who were there, to my knowledge, I think all these are still here. So we got Jack Beck from TCU, who Grandize has laid claim to already. He's had a good week. Pat Bryant from Illinois, who I love as outside X. You got Kamiri Dyke from Florida, Daquan Felton from Virginia Tech, Ty Felton from Maryland, Jaden
The
Higgins
best.
from Iowa State. Oh yeah, absolutely. Tez Johnson from Oregon, Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech, Brew McCoy from Tennessee.
He's left today, apparently.
Oh, has he as well? All right, he's
Don't know
gone.
why, because he's had a terrible end to his
Yeah.
college career. He needed this.
Okay, Brew McCoy's gone. We got Jalen Noel from Iowa State, Xavier Restrepo's had a week and a half from Miami, Jalen Royals from Utah State, Arian Smith from Georgia, who by accounts has had a very good week, Kyle Williams from Washington State, Isaac T. Slar from Arkansas, and Jamal Pritchett from South Alabama. But one place to start here, right? Right.
Yep.
Jaden Higgins. Everybody's in love with Jaden Higgins
Everyone's saying,
now.
like, say, like a
I've
top six, top 50, top 60 pick now.
I've got to watch him with the Bectical for the last few years. I mean, some of the catches he's made, like Jesus.
6'3", like 215. No, there were no lying about his measurables. He's physically imposing, but he's got feet like a ballerina. Like I say, you just look the cuts. This is some roots. Like I say, he's dusting people. Like I
Yeah,
say, he's putting moves on them. Like I said, then the hands are so safe. He's physical. He's great in the red zone. Like I say, he's easily the best receiver I've seen of everyone that's here. Like I say, he's the highlight guy, but he's also been able to back up with a stellar college career. I think Jane Higgins is going to be a very good. He's going to have production as a rookie. Like I say, very impressive. Like I say, it's one of those where if it's getting towards he's in the late 50s and the Lions have that pick the early 60s, I'm going to get him. We
Mm.
need an X receiver. He's an X receiver. He can win on the outside. Like I say, he's got the footwork to get down the sideline. He's got the hands, the physicality. I think so. We're very happy with him as a rookie. But yeah, I've been very impressed with some guys. Like I say, I've not seen a lot of it, but everyone's talking about Jalen, Jalen Royals. A lot of people have been talking about him.
The
Like I
Utah
said, the Utah
State
State guy.
receiver. Yeah, he's another.
Yeah, bit
He's
more
a
undersized, but like I say, he's silky smooth. Like I say, the routes are apparently very crisp. The hands are good. Apparently, like I say, he's one of the best kind of steals potentially in the draft.
Absolutely. And then the other one who's done really well, Xavier Restrepo, had one hell of a year for the Miami Hurricanes. And again, you think and look at him as a slot receiver, but he's a playmaker. Like his speed, his change of direction, his hands are absolutely immaculate. And Grandad is probably going to get fed up with this, but if he stayed in state, it would not surprise me. If Miami are in need of a slot slash outside receiving weapon who can do both, who just uses his speed to get open in the middle of the field and can leave people for dead. Like, it would not surprise me if he stayed somewhere like that. But he's just been unguardable this week. No one's been able to keep up with him. And, Higgins has had the catches. Restrepo's had the separation. He's looked absolutely fire. He's coming off a wonderful season. Pat Bryant has gotten a lot of love this week as well, the Illinois
He's a good blocker.
ex-receiver.
He's a big outside receiver as well.
He is. I love him. He's up there. Him and Ricky White are the ones I want for the Lions. If it's going to be one of them, and of course we've feasted off the Illinois supply line in recent years. They're just so damn good. These players are. Another who's done very well and in tough circumstances, and you've mentioned about Jack Beck.
Yeah. Like I say, for
Now
anyone who don't know,
this
unfortunately, like I
is
say, Jack has been wearing, like say, his brother's number and, like say, Princeton colours. Because unfortunately, like I say, Jack's back played for the Princeton Tigers a couple of years ago. But he was one of those people, like I say, that unfortunately passed away in recent weeks in America,
in New Orleans,
New
yeah, in the
Orleans.
attack there.
But yeah,
So
Jack
it's
this year been one of the best receivers in the nation. He was lucky enough to have Josh Hoover, one of the best quarterbacks. But yeah, Jack Beck is he's muscular, he's strong, he's physical. He's made some great contested catches this week, like you say, where he's high pointing balls that have come over linebackers. Like you say, he's getting in behind them. Like you say, he's well built together. He's a well built guy. He's like 6'2". He's a guy I think that has gone under the radar a lot this year, despite playing on a team that not met expectations. But most weeks he's been one of the best receivers in the nation, just not got a lot of national coverage. Like
mm,
saying, yeah, he's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Like you say, he could have dropped out. Like you say, he came. He's representing him, playing for his family. Yeah, I like him. I think the Lions should probably give him a look. He won't cost you a lot. He's got a lot of production. Like I say, he's got a good size, and I reckon he'd probably be a pretty solid blocker as well because he's very strong. He can hold his own.
yeah, it's great to see him doing so well, and say it cannot be easier from him at the moment, but maybe this gives him the motivation as well. So yeah, hopefully he carries on doing what he's doing. Grandizer goes, I'd be happy with Xavier Restrepo as a replacement for Tyreek. And he's that type of guy. Obviously, he's not Tyreek in terms of the blazing straight line speed, but he's probably more of an infield technician than Tyreek. Like he can get separation better rather than just sprinting downfield and being quicker than everybody else. So I think he'd do very well in your system. Grandizer goes Jack Beck, maybe one of the year's draft darlings. Yeah, potentially there. I'll see you in a bit, Brent. Thanks for joining us and for Lisa as well. I will answer your center question for the end of the show, Lisa, so we will get that in there for you. So that's wide receivers. Tight ends. Now, maybe the class that's getting like tight ends are getting a lot of love this week because again, tight ends not been
I've
a
seen
class
two
that's been
standouts.
yeah, the first one on here, especially. So the group who are there, you've got Elijah Arroyo from Miami, Gavin Bartholomew from Pittsburgh, Jake Brinningstool from Clemson, CJ Dupree from Alabama, Harold Fannin, the star from Bowling Green, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, Jackson Hawes from Georgia Tech, Moliki Mataveo from UCLA, Mason Taylor from LSU, and Thomas Fedone from Nebraska. And I'm going to assume the two names you mentioned on here are Elijah Arroyo and Mason Taylor.
Yeah, they've had a lot of buzz. Elijah Arroyo has probably got a lot of national coverage more than other players. He's been an outstanding receiver. Like I say, he has looked so good inside and out. Like I say, the hands are there, running upfield. Like I say, his physical is strong. He's well built. He's well put together. Like I say, he's been very productive as well. He's been winning a lot of his one-on-one matchups. Been giving a lot of defenders a lot of trouble. And then Mason Taylor, a lot of them that say he's the best, most well-rounded. A lot of them say he's the most well-rounded tight end in the whole class. Can catch, can block, is 6'5". Like I say, is like 240-ish. Like I say, he's got a fantastic frame. He's young. He's a very smart kid. Like I say, he's got a strong IQ. Like I say, he's had good seasons. Like I say, he's had seasons where it's not kind of clicked for him. He's not been a phase. But some of them think, like I say, he's a proper sleeper. That could be someone that could emerge very quickly. Like I say, a position now that he's very highly sought after.
Is he coming at two? He's listed as 255, but I don't know whether maybe he's shed a bit. But you look at him, and 3 years at LSU, he's got 1,300 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. He's got very respectable grades, both in his blocking disciplines. There again, it's if you're not a tight end with shiny stats, no one really pays attention to you, do they? But I'm with you. I look at him, I'm like, the dude's huge, and he's had some good catches in the end zone this week as a receiver, and you're like, huh. Is it just because you think of LSU and tight ends, and it's not really the first thing that comes to mind, is it? Because
No.
they're wide receiver you, so it's very hard for the LSU tight ends to show off as receivers and do that while they're
Last big
there.
name tight end at LSU, Thaddeus Moss. Where is he now?
Oh God, yeah,
Nobody
that's
knows exactly, yeah.
yeah, but you've got to do a lot of the grunt work. You've got to do the grunt work for the star receivers, so you don't get a chance to show off yourself. So, like you say, that potential there of he's just not been used in this way. It'll make you think, why would you go as a tight end to LSU? It's kind of a hide into nothing, but he's got respectable figures. He's a decent receiver. He's a decent blocker. And probably there's a lot waiting there to be shown with him. So him and Arroyo certainly have done great. I don't think Fanning's done that much while he's been there, but I don't
No,
think he
apparently
needs
he's
to.
been very quiet.
I don't think he, well, I don't think he
I don't think he
needs
needs to.
to. No, I think he's proven what he can do. He doesn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Don't
these
need to
guys who,
play.
no,
If I were him, I wouldn't play the game. I wouldn't risk injury.
no, absolutely.
He can't really improve his stock any more than it's going to be.
No, absolutely not. Right, let's get into the O linemen because the O linemen have been showing out this week. So there's quite a few. So we've got Anthony Belton from NC State, Logan Brown from Kansas, Josh Connolly Jr. from Oregon, Garrett Dellinger from LSU, Aoronte Ursary from Minnesota. Then you got Miles Frazier and Emory Jones from LSU, Marcus Mbao from Purdue, Armand Embu from Missouri, who's had to go home, I think 'cause he had flu, so
Yeah.
he's not in this. You got Wyatt Milam from West Virginia, Jonah Monheim from USC, Jalen Rivers from Miami, Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech, Jonah Savainea from Arizona, Jackson Slater from Sac State, Ozzie Trapio from Boston College, Jalen Travis from Iowa State, Carson Vinson from Alabama A&M, Grazer Bell from North Dakota State, Willie Lampkin from UNC, Jacob Bayer from Arkansas State, and Clay Webb from Jacksonville State. Now, I mean, where the hell do we start here? Because there are a lot of guys who've been doing well, but I think you talk about new draft darlings, Ryan, this year, and there's a certain Bison who is just about universally loved by everybody after what they've seen this week.
Yep. Grazer Bell. Yeah. He's played left tackle and left guard, and he's like you say, he's been a mauler. Like you say, he has looked incredibly comfortable at both positions. He's got the size, he's got the weight, he's got the pedigree. Years as a national champion. Like he's got all the experience under his belt. He's shown it all this week as well. He has not looked out of place against any lineman that's gone up against him. Like I say, he has had some of the nastiest, like I say, bull rush him. They got guys, like I said, just straight up try to run him, try to bully him. Like I say, he has literally just he's pedaled them round or he's stood them up. He's got underneath their pads. Like I say, he stood them up like it's hanging out the washing. Like I say, none of them are able to pick on him. Like I say, he has been very good at both positions. Like I say, he's already rocketed up draft boards. Anyone that wanted him between like I say, he could go now anywhere from like say 30 to 50.
Oh yeah, he's in that category now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
He's a fringe
catapulted.
first round player now.
Yeah, like there was, I can't remember one, but there's one rep where he just got over someone and dirted them. Like he pile drove them and it looked like it hurt, like he'd left his mark on them. He's been so incredibly good. And as you say, he's got positional versatility. I don't know even know where I think he could do both in the NFL. I think he'd be fine at either. And so if you need someone on the left-hand side of your line, he's going to be in there, but especially a load of guys at the bottom here. So Willie Lampkin. He's flying the torch for undersized tackles at the minute because what is he?
5'10"
He's
offensive
five.
lineman.
He's 5'10". He's been a guard, so he was at Coastal Cal, I remember, and he followed their coach to you. He followed one of their coaches to UNC. But he's a vast starter. I've not got the stats in front of me, but I'm willing to be bet he must have 3,000 plus snaps in college. But they've said like his technique and the ability shown this week, his anchor even at 5'10", like he's flying the flag here. This is why you don't. There's always an exception to the rule with offensive linemen, and they said he's just dominated all this week. They said there's nobody really who's gotten the better of him.
Nope. Like saying it all starts with him with the bottom half, the base. He's like those Japanese skyscrapers they build to stop earthquakes. They look flimsy, don't they? And they wobble, but they absorb the impact and they don't get brought down. And he's kind of built a whole game around that, about building big thighs, strong knees that can, like say, with that, and understanding leverage. He is very comfortable lifting weights above his head because he's got a lot of guys that are trying to almost go over him, and he's getting underneath them and he's lifting them up. And once he manages to lift them up and push them back, they lose all their momentum. Like I say, and they're not able to win against them. He's very comfortable, like I say, with his back against the wall. Like I say, the hands as well. When you're that small, you need the hand work. It's all about, like I say, making contact, disengaging, like I say, making sure you're constantly maneuvering, moving your hands, like I say, moving side to side. A bit like a crab. He's built a bit like a strong crab, like I say, with like arms, like short base. Yeah, he's very productive. He's found different ways to win, despite, like I said, lacking the height and the weight. Like I say, he's very good. And in the run game, I say I expect him to be very strong at the next level going forward. Like you say, like a little mini tank, built like a Ford Mondeo. Like you say, he will literally bulldoze some people. At the next level, like you say, he's going to be pancaking guys. Like I say, safeties, linebackers, they won't like him because he's surprisingly nimble for an offensive lineman. Like I say, because he's not that heavy and not that tall.
For the Americans who are not familiar with the disposition of a Fort Mondeo, they say there's so many things that could survive a nuclear strike, like Twinkies and cockroaches. A Fort
Whatever
Mondeo would
your
go in
like
that
six
category.
seater like family mom soccer car is, he's built like that.
He's very good, is what we're saying there. Grandeyes has just put the one in the chat I was going to mention actually now. So the other one, the only HBCU prospect here, Carson Vinson, the tackle from Alabama A&M. He has 3,500 snaps of experience in college, all at left tackle. Well, he's got like a few as a tight end when they've done six-man sets. But especially in the last couple of years, he has really developed, especially in his pass blocking department. And you've seen that this week. Another who has completely dominated with his strength and his size. Like he's 6'6", he's 305. He ain't no mug. He's the perfect size for a tackle at this level. And again, you've seen the HBCU products coming through and looking good, Rye.
Yeah. Like I say, he's one of the only few HBC players combined for both games. There's very few on both rosters, like I say. So he's flying the flag. Like I say, Alabama A&M, in their own right, a big program. They've got every opportunity to present players to the NFL. Like I say, they're very well coached, but he's good players. Like you say, yeah, he's got that kind of. For me, it's the sweet spot. I like 6'6". I like 310, I like 315, 320. Like I say, you're not too tall, you're not too heavy, which means you'll be weighed down. He's not sluggish. Like I say, he's able to build up momentum. He can shift. Like I say, pass block. Like I say, he's very comfortable going backwards, going side to side. The first step, I think the first step for him is really big. Like I say, he has to be able to mirror him. Like I say, he's got to be able to get in and get out across. Like I say, and kind of, he needs to shepherd these guys round. He's been very comfortable. But if they want to come straight up and at him, under his chin, under his, like I say, his face cage, he'll take it. He'll absorb the blow very well. He'll, like I say, and he'll remain standing. And once, like I say, he's absorbed their blow, kind of neutralizes them. It doesn't matter what level you play at, if you can swallow a bull rush like that and not get driven back into the quarterback, that's kind of all they've got, really. Like I say, he's very comfortable and he's definitely held his own. Like I say, he's been very impressive against, and I imagine he's probably earned a lot of respect from the big name guys.
He has. Where he makes his money, he's very athletic, and you've seen it in the run game. He loves getting to the second level, and you see it again and again and again. He's taken a lot of linebackers out of run plays on these games because he just makes his initial tackle and he's gone. He's really quick, he's really athletic. Yeah, he's a little technically raw, but and the level of opposition is there. But Carson Vincent looks legit. The only thing that is holding me back right now in terms of people blowing like this time last year, and we had the man on himself to talk about this when Sunday Arthur Anderson went and wrecked the Shrine Bowl last year, and everyone was talking about him. Everybody loved him. Nobody drafted him. So is this going to be different this year? Because we've not had a HBCU prospect drafted for 2 years now, or bit three going into this draft. But we'll be able to find out in a lot more detail next week because I will announce this now. But there are three All-Star games that go through this process. So the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, and then the very much forgotten about one, which is the HBCU Legacy Bowl. And as you know, for the last 3 years now, we have covered this game and we have made sure to give it the attention that it deserves. And for the last 2 of those years, we've had ourselves one of the best experts in the HBCU football field on with us, Coach Gerald Huggins. We absolutely love him to death. And despite all the work he's doing this year at Morgan State and with his Shrine Bowl stuff and, with his awards he does and everything, he is making time to come back and talk to us again on next week's show. So even though the Legacy Bowl is in a few weeks' time and we were going to do the show in 2 weeks, we're bringing it forward a week. Next week, Gerald is going to be on the show with us. So we will be able to hear a lot more about Carson Vincent and whether he is going to be the real deal this year and whether he will get drafted or not. So if you've got any questions for him, if there's anything you want to know about the HBCU football scene, the prospects or anything this year, let us know because he likes to do his research beforehand. We'll get it all in for him, but we're going to do that interview with him next week. So Gerald is going to be here, and we're very much looking forward to having him back on the show with us. So, where were we? Offensive lineman. Who else has been showing out this week?
Armand Membu. I saw people talk about
The
him.
He's left because he's been ridden with flu.
Yeah. Like I say, he
He's
was having a good,
gone.
despite the short arms and short size, he was doing well. But yeah, he's got food poisoning, hasn't he? I think, something apparently.
He got it on Sunday and he's been struggling with it and he's gone. The one who has been doing really well, and if Mile Marker's still in the chat, he will like this. Aaron Ursary, the tackle from Minnesota. And I know he's been doing well because he had a day where he absolutely stonewalled the life out of Donovan Aziruaku, who is going to be the first guy I do my draft review videos on because I love Donovan Aziruaku. And he, for want of a better word, absolutely killed him in one-on-ones. But the big man out of Minnesota, right? We talked about Falele earlier. He's gone to the draft. He's in the NFL. He's a starter at Baltimore now. Ursary also looks like he's a legit prospect for this year in a very good tackle class, but he's another. He is strong. He is good in the run game. He's obviously the pass protection stuff still needs to come on a little bit because obviously Minnesota is a run heavy team, but he shut Izzy Ruwaku down. He shut a couple of the other edge rushers down. And to be honest, the edge rushers have ruled this week. Like in a week where very few offensive linemen have shined, Ursary looks the real deal.
Yeah. All I've seen all week is like offensive tackles, like I said, just getting blown up or getting breezed by. A lot of them have been struggling and have been on the wrong end of the highlight plays. I haven't seen Ursary in those players. Like you say, and that's for a good thing. Like you say, He may not be winning all the reps, but the fact is he's holding his own. If you can make these guys work for it and make them work like 110% to beat you and get to the bag, like I said, that's fine. That's all you need. Because these players aren't real. In real life, that ball is gone. He's won. Like I say, he hasn't got the quarterback's gone or they've handed it off to a running back. So, yeah, in real life, he's winning these reps. Like I say, and a lot of guys, they need to respect that. That, like I say, his ability there is hold these guys up. If you can't beat them if they're faster than you, then get in their way and make your life a nuisance. And like I say, yeah, the pass pro of him will come. Like you say, right now he's holding his own. He's making them work extra hard. Like you say, he's digging his heels in, making sure he's not driven back. And when it comes to the run game, where you don't see a lot of the O-line that best are in the run game at these games, like I say, because they don't devise all the drills around that. Like I say, he will flourish. Like I say, Golden Gophers, great running school. Like I say, he's big. He's not the most athletic, but he's big. He's strong. Like I say, he's able to disengage. And then, like I say, he builds up a little bit of steam as a lead blocker. Like I say, he's probably going to make someone punish. He'll make someone pay for it. Like I say, he will be able to spring a large block for someone.
Yeah,
I
and
like him as a guy. If a team doesn't need a starter this year, and maybe a few one in the year, like I say, he's the kind of guy, like I say, that he could be the kind of guy you could take now and you just stash him.
he's in your sweet spot, 6'6", 330.
Yep.
Like that's a really good frame and build for him. But he's looked good against some of the Premier edge rushers this week. So Aaron is in that category as well. And then the one who's getting a lot of love, and I feel like I should know more about this because he's a Wolfpack guy, but Anthony Belton as well. Like you talk about guys who've been violent this week. Like he has been like again, the Edges have been handing out a lot of punishment this week, but he's another who has been taking no for an answer and he's just been throwing it straight back at them. I'm really impressed by him. I admit I watch a lot of NC State games and I'm not thinking outright NFL talent from him. I'm thinking he's good, but maybe I'm changing my mind a little bit on this, but Belton's another one who's just been throwing out the punches this week and taking as good as he gets.
Yeah. Fighting fire with fire. Like you say, he's been one of those, like I say, the heated battles.
Hmm.
Like I say, where you might give him 5 reps, he'll lose 2 of them. Like so he'll win 2 of them. Like I say, he's been given just as good as he gets. Like I say, and some of these guys, it's kind of what you want to see. You want to see some of these guys go back and forth with each other and kind of like build up a bit of a rivalry.
Hmm.
Like I say, some of them, like I say, they're bringing it all. He's getting all the juice, all the heat. They're bringing out some of the best moves, some of the pure speed, pure power bull rush. Like I say, and like I say, he's standing there, he's absorbing it, he's taking it, he's delivering it back. And like you say, yeah, he's another guy that, yeah, he's biding his time. Like you say, he's holding them up. Like you say, he's asked, doing what is asked of him.
Yeah. So in terms of, I'm not going to say he's not done well, but Josh Connolly now has a teddy bear of Mike Green at home with him, which he holds on to because it's he was owned by
Yeah,
him,
you
but he was
can't, he
playing
won't be able to
right
live the play
tackle.
down now, unfortunately.
He was playing right, and again, this is Josh Connolly's a career left tackle. He's playing at right tackle. He gets posterized by Mike Green, and people are going, "Oh my God, he's not. He's still fine." But in terms of getting posterized, Connolly's the one who did who did take a bit of a tank in this week. But he's also done pretty well as well, Connolly, in other facets of it. So yeah,
It just
it's
shows though
it's
when people
been
say, "Oh, like is just swap them round."
yeah,
Like I said,
exactly.
just swap sides. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. Right, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. Let's get on with this. So the defensive line, so the Senior Bowl do it where they put tackles and edge together. So I'm just going to list them down and we'll go through them. Um, Darius Alexander from Toledo. We got Yaya Black from Iowa, Jamari Caldwell from Oregon, Donovan Aziruaku from Boston College, Joshua Farmer from Florida State, Mike Green from Marshall, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins from Georgia, Jared Ivey from Ole Miss, Cam Jackson from Florida, Landon Jackson from Arkansas, Savion Jones from LSU, Jar Joyner from Minnesota. You know what? Let's do it in halves. Let's do that half first. And I mean, there's one place to start here, right, Ryan? He is the true epitome of a draft darling, and people are now trying to shove him as high up their boards as they can get. I know he's very much liked in Lions Land. Mike Green from Marshall.
Yep.
He came, he dominated, and he's already gone home because he
Yeah, he's
knows
left.
he's done his job. He's not even stayed for the game.
I don't blame him.
It's like, here I am. I've kicked your ass. I'm going now. See you, bye. I mean, what more can you say about him? 17 sacks this year. We know how good these Sunbelt rushers are. Javen Solomon came out last year. He had 17 sacks for Troy last year. He's playing for the Buffalo Bills now. Yes, it's in rotation, but still, he's worked his way into a team that's just made the AFC Championship game. These guys are legit. They're technically well trained. And he's just got the speed. He's got the blend of everything. The explosion, the speed. His technique is second to none, which is a Lions fan. We need a technical rusher. He has it all. And, while the competition will be scrutinized, not one tackle has stood up to him this week. This is as dominant a performance in an All-Star week as you could ever hope to lay down.
Yep. Any question that's been around him, he's answered it. First one, weighed in at the start season, £236. Weighed in 2 days ago, 251. He's gained 15 pounds, and you can tell it's muscle. If you look at him, he's shredded. And you can see he's still lightning fast. He has not gained any fat or weight. Like I say, only 6'3", but 251, good weight. Like I say, he has not lost any of that first step at all. His first step is where he generates all the explosion. Like I say, he hits the ground with so much force, and like I say, it's like a lightning bolt. Like I say, obviously, like I say, yeah, everyone else, he's the guy that embarrassed Josh Conley, who takes that one step out and he just comes straight in, hands up, pops him straight in the breast plate, like I say, sends him a good 3 yards back, absolutely explodes him. And that's the last thing he needed to do. He announced today he's going home. Like I say, 17 sacks in the season. He's gained 15 pounds. He's got, like I say, the highlight of the camp. Like I say, yep, the guys have talked to him. He's smiley. He's a likable guy. He's come up here and kind of, like I say, proved that he's not, like I said, the small school guys can still do it. They can hold their own. Like I say, he's departed. So all the questions have been answered. I've seen him now in 3 different mocks to the Lions by analysts. A lot of them look at him and just think he's something we need because we lack that explosion off the edge. And they're not wrong. Like I say, the
We
fits are there. He's going to be in that range now as well. He will be in and around that area. He's one of the winners of the entire offseason so far.
I've said this, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face. On the Lions' defensive line, you've got Hutch and McNeil, who have a pass rush repertoire worth a damn. The rest of them are just pocket collapses, which are no good in the NFL. You've got to beat your man. You've got to get to the guy quicker. Like you said, you need explosion and you need technique. And you look at his pass rush arsenal. He loves taking the inside shoulder, doesn't he, and then spinning out. Like it's what Hutch does to a degree. He gets inside, gets the leverage on you, and then just he's round you, and you're like, how the? Because he got him there, like he's gone, but he will hit you with so much more than that. And people are trying to get him into the teens now. I mean, what realistically are we talking as a ceiling for him in the draft? I feel like he can't break the top 15, but
I
I
think
feel like
I won't
there
be
is a
surprised if
spot
he's
for him.
gone by like 25. Yeah,
25, yeah.
2025. I think we might end up missing out on him.
I don't think you can sit and wait for him if you really want him. That's the
No.
point now. There's not.
I'd be very surprised if it fell to us now.
Yeah, exactly. I do think the ceiling for him is about 15. I think that is the highest
Yeah.
someone will
It's
go.
how much you're willing to pay to go up and get him now.
Yeah. And I mean, like, does he have anything to prove at the combine? I feel like you look at him and you're like, is there anything I need to know
No.
about him
I
more?
mean
I'm like,
we know the 40 will be good even at 251 pounds because we've seen the
yeah,
speed. I
yeah, you
expect
have.
him to run a very I mean, I can't even estimate, like, say, what, a 4.55, 4.5, like, say, at
Yeah.
£250, like, say, that'd probably
I
be
don't,
blazing.
I don't need to see the technique anymore. Like, the
No.
technique's good. I don't need to see the
I
footwork. I
don't
know
think
the
he'll do all the
footwork's good.
combine drills. I think he'll probably just do
Yeah.
that. I expect stuff like cone, I'd like to see him do, because
Do
I
the
think he'll like,
measurements.
excel at the 3 cone.
Yeah, something like that would be good. Do your measurements.
Yeah.
Do
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 the
do you
also,
do
yeah,
you
like I said, with his short arms and build, I need to see the bench press. They'll
Yeah.
be looking at how his extension with his arms.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you are coming from facing, a right tackle at South Alabama to
Yeah.
facing
If he
NFL
can put like
talent.
15 on the bench, yeah,
Yeah,
He's going like top 25.
because I don't want to put the pressure on him as a day one starter. I don't. I would like to have Hutch, a vet, and then him, and then you can bring him in as and when you need him. So if we were to do it, but I don't know. He has just absolutely dominated this, but he's not on his own. And in this first group I've just mentioned here, the other hot name at the minute is Darius Alexander from Toledo. He's the interior lineman from there. 6'4", 310 pounds. He's another one of the. He's a three tech for all intents, but he's played 1,700 career snaps at about the three tech position, about 300 everywhere else. Now he had the massive year for Toledo last year, 7 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Went down to 4 this year, but he's another who's just like the sheer strength and disruption. 6'4", 310. That's what you want from a three tech, right? He's got just enough muscle that he can give centers and guards problems pure strength wise, but he's got the length to be able to beat them with speed as well. And that's kind of what you've seen with him this week. He's got both in his arsenal, and he's been using both of those facets to attack these guys who just don't know how to block him.
Yeah, I've liked him. Like I say, he's a good blend of size, speed, technique. I also think, like you say, depending on the front you play him in, I reckon he can hold his own. I think he can be effective in the run game. I can't say that about a lot of these guys on this list, but I think he's probably one of the more safer bets to be more well-rounded. He will rush the passer, but primarily the first down will be he will keep his side clean, he will contain, he will hold his own in the run game. And like I say, he will come inside and force make tackles, which I like about him. Like I say, yeah, had a breakout year on a Toledo side that, yeah, it's been good, one fantastic about it. There's such their high standards. Didn't meet up them. Like I say, he was a guy, like I say, that had great production this year and really shone. Like I say, he's one of the guys here that's coming in with some real production. A lot of guys on here, like I said, didn't have productive years.
Oh no, we're going to get to that in a minute because there's someone else getting a lot of love who I'm going to push back on like I have in recent years. We're going to get there, but yeah, everyone's been saying Darius Alexander, wherever he is in your mock now, push him up because he's probably going to as well. In this initial group as well, Donovan Azirewaku's been good. Apart from that set he had with Ursary, his last few days have been really good. And what's so great about him, and I've done the film on him now, he's Teflon. When it comes to the run game, I've never seen a edge rusher have such an ability to not be plugged onto his tackles can't grab a hold of him. He's got this great ability where he just punches you, creates a bit of separation, and then he's got this violent swipe move that when you try and get him a second time, he's gone past you. Like in this tape alone, there's 4 or 5 examples of him being able to just keep off people, and guys can't get a hold of him. And he's shown that this week because he's a little shorter at 6'2", but he's got an arm span. It's huge. His arms are huge, so he can go up against these bigger tackles, hit them first, which is what he does really well, and win the leverage battle with them. He's a really good run defender. He's got motor of an engine as well. If Mike Green's going to go too high for the Lions, then Aziru Waku's who I want instead. I think he fits us to a T. He's had a really good day, and especially his day 3 today has apparently been really good as well. Not heard much from Landon Jackson. He was another who was like a faux. I don't know. Lions fans just picked him because he's got the size, the frame, and the stamina and everything, and no one knows out about these guys yet. But I've not heard a great. I don't know. Have you heard anything about him? Is he there? I've just.
Uh,
I'm
I
not
think
sold.
I think he's a solid player.
Yeah,
He could play 4 downs.
yeah,
He's got good size. He's strong. He's got strength. Like I say, he's well rounded. I think he can be a guy that you can trust him. You leave him
yeah.
out there. I don't think you get too many explosive players.
No,
But like I say, he's a guy that there'll be.
I don't
There's
want him
no
at.
real downside. The ceiling, the floor's fairly high with him.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
don't want him at 28. It's just he's not shown
Oh
enough
no,
in
no.
his
Like I say, a
career.
lot of these guys I couldn't take that like highlights. I've seen Jared Ivey make a few splash plays this week. The
Mm,
only problem is, like I say, he's one of the bigger guys, stronger guys. He's just very unathletic.
yeah,
He
yeah. That's going to be his
lumbers.
problem. Yeah, that's going to be the
Like I
problem
say,
for
he's
him.
productive, like I say, but yeah, don't expect him to win with speed. It's
You
not there.
push him inside a bit, don't you, and
Yeah,
use the
I
strength
think
more
yeah
than
they
speed
did like I say with
ratio.
him, like I say Walter Ole Miss kicked a lot of his guys inside with Prinsley as well.
Mm.
That's why they did. A lot of them weren't super productive with sacks because a lot of them they were coming up the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get on to the second lot of the D line. So you've got Kyle Kennard from South Carolina, Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee, RJ Oben from Notre Dame, Olawafemi Oladejo from UCLA, Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State, Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech, Ty Robinson from Nebraska, TJ Sanders from South Carolina, Tim Smith from Alabama, sorry. Baron Sorrell from Texas, Josiah Stewart from Michigan, Junior Tafuna from Utah, Princely Uman Malin from Ole Miss, Deone Walker from Kentucky, David Walker from Central Arkansas. And I want to start with Walter Nolan because tried to stay away from the guys who are high five-star prospects who don't really deliver in college to their degree. But I don't know about you, Ryan. His last year's been pretty good, and the more I look of him, and he said the other day, I'm the next Aaron Donald. Like the dude's cocky and confident, but I look at him playing, I'm like, wow, I would at 28, I would. There's just something about him that screams he's going to be an absolute menace at the next level, and he's looked good this week. Like you said, they've moved him around a little bit. He's playing like a five-star rated player is playing against three stars.
Yeah, he's got he's got that Jalen Carter level of arrogance and like I say that confidence that he can win up the
Oh,
middle. Like I say, Walter Nolan is a guy like I say you can just drop in the middle of a defensive line. Like I say, and yeah, production. He is so comfortable against like any like center or guard or body type. Like you say, he's got a tool, he's got a skill, he's got the power. Like you say, he's been very productive to win. Like I say, he's been very good for the Rebels at times. Like I say, he's been a linchpin to their guys. Like I say, he's a guy like I say that people look to as well. He's a leader that I would trust. Like I say, in the past, I looked at him, I thought maybe a bit childish. Like I say, a couple of years ago, maybe I thought he thought he was all that. He's matured, I feel like. Like I said, I feel like that chip on the shoulder's come off a little bit. He's got older. Yeah, like I say, he's the kind of guy you wouldn't want to go to a rival.
yeah, oh no, absolutely, you wouldn't. In terms of where else were we on here? So another name that's making intriguing names, Baron Sorrell, by all accounts, having a great week. Now he's kind of gone under the radar. He's not had the greatest of career at Texas, but he's coming off a 10 sack season. He did have a good game against Ohio State where they were struggling with him a lot, and he's another who he plays inside a lot as well. But that's an intriguing name, maybe just to keep an eye on the periphery, because by all accounts, he's having a damn good week himself.
Yeah, like I say, he's coming off a career year, I think it was. Like I say,
Yeah.
yeah, he was part of a ferocious front. Like I said, Texas, like I said, they were so good this year. Like I say, he's riding the crest of a wave right now. He's carried the momentum into this as well. Like I say, he's coming off a good season, a very successful team that, like I say, made a really good title run. So, like I say, he's very relevant right now. I feel like he offers versatility. Like I say, he's hardworking, he's physical, he's strong at the point of impact. And this year, he improved on his game in finishing. Like you say, when the opportunities arose and he was able to do some different things, like I say, get the better of guys, he was bringing the quarterback down at a consistent rate. So yeah, he's definitely worked on those tools and those finishing skills.
He has indeed. He looks good. The one I'm going to raise issue with, and I don't think he was on this list, but he is there. He's this year's prize because he's built like an Adonis, but he's produced like something a lot less. Everyone's on the Shamar Stewart train from Texas A&M.
Because of all
This
the percentiles of the
super,
body.
this super athletic, super traits guy who's
3% body fat or something.
never had more than 1.5 sacks in a season in his career at Texas A&M. And like you can say a lot of things about Tamu, but their defensive line's usually pretty good, and you can get production on that line, and you can do really well. People are saying he's a top 15 pick. And I'm just there looking like, yeah, if you're doing it by his attributes and everything, he is, but what have you seen in college that justifies top 15 pick reckoning? Like you put a guy like him, like a guy like Mike Green. Mike Green's superior in and I know he's more of an interior guy, but in terms of like his techniques and that, he's superior. And he's earned his way up there with actual production and done well. Jamar Stewart, never more than 2 sacks in a season. Like, and on that D line at Texas A&M. You've had Walter Nolan with you for most of your career. You've had Nick Skoughton with you this year. You've had a whole host of great players on that defensive line with you. So you can't say you've been working with a load of scrubs and you've been getting double teamed and triple teamed and everything all the time. I don't know. Do you see it? I don't. I just think he's this year's Love, and someone's going to drastically overpay for him.
I would be very worried if we took him at 28. He is the
I'd
ultimate.
hate it.
He is the ultimate boom or bust product. Like you say, supreme athlete. Like you say, he's got the frame, the speed, the length, the size, the biceps, the hands. But why has none of it come together? Like you say, it's not for the lack of snaps. It's not for lack of, like say, a strong front and good solid teammates to make him. Like I say, it's just there's just a lack of production. It's just the dots aren't coming together. Like you say, he could be one of the players we look back in the years like, oh well, we all missed out on him. Like I say, we totally got that wrong by passing on him. Or we could be all like, oh well, he faded into obscurity very quickly, being taken like 25 overall. Like I say, it could be those, like I say, where it's an instant regret, or you instantly love it, and you know for a fact, like I say, that everyone's kind of like say cussing under their breath for not taking him. Yeah, so he's the kind of player he frightens me.
He does. And this is not like a, I think it was Darius Robinson last year. This is not a scenario where you've got like an uber big guy on the interior who's had to go outside and learn his trade there. And he's very athletic, but he's always played as an edge player. He does play inside when they go to a three-man front, but for the most part, he's always been an edge player. He's had no one messing with his position. He's played at edge. No one's messed with that. And you've still got no production. I just look at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not. This is why I don't do trades. This is why I like small school guys who've got production and that. They generally do better. And we always say it every year, there's these traits guys who comes out with ass loves and they vanish off the face of the earth. I don't think he's going to be the next one out of this. But yeah, it's been a fruitful week. I mean, we've seen good RJ Oben this week as well. I mean, wrong move to go to Notre Dame. We remember Duke RJ Oben. He could have been a very high draft pick. Notre Dame RJ Oben just didn't work, but you've seen Duke RJ Oben this week. I think he's probably going to go later, but yeah, it's been a good week for the Edges overall.
Yeah, edge and D line.
Yeah,
I'd say probably the best position of the Senior Bowl. The most splash
abs
players. They've rivaled the DBs, the cornerbacks anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the linebackers now, just two groups to go and we're done. Eugene Asante from Auburn, Jeffrey Basser from Oregon, Shamar James from Florida, Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina, Cody Lindenberg from Minnesota, Nick Martin from Oklahoma State, Tyreen Powell from Rutgers, Kareem Reed from Utah, Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, Smail Mondon Jr. from Georgia, Jalen McLeod from Auburn, and Justin Barron from Syracuse. Linebackers, I mean, the
Jeffrey
seventh,
Basser.
the
He's looked
another
good.
hot name.
The former safety. You
Mm,
can tell he was a safety by because, like I say, he's probably the best coverage backer there. Like I say, his ability to, like I say, back pedal and then scrape left or right, like I say, and mirror guys, and then like I say, make a play on the ball and break on the ball. He's very good. I think he's going to be a good option. I think someone's going to be very happy if they pick him at the next level. Like I say, he's very comfortable, kind of like marshalling that middle field.
absolutely. He's looked great. And there's been a lot of buzz about Jack Kaiser as well. The 70-man guy for Notre Dame. He's older, but he's got a lot of, he's got a lot of experience under his belt. And by
Got
all
an
accounts,
interception yesterday. I saw on one of the live drills.
mm, and he's using all that experience to, because again, I wouldn't know where to put him as a draft prospect right now, but
Did
I
I see
feel
something like
like
a
he's
record?
probably
Like, say, was it 74 games he's took a snap in or something stupid? It was something like that.
He played 70. Was it
70,
70? Was the Natty? The Natty was 70, I think, starts. I don't know
yeah,
whether he's
like I
done
say,
some
he's
no
that
starts as
that's
well, but
incredible.
that's a good NFL career, 70 games. That's like four full seasons
Yeah, like I say,
and some playoffs.
yeah, he's average sized, average things. Like everything about him physically, like I say, and everything, the traits, they're all average. But the IQ, You don't play in 70 games unless you're very smart. Like I say, he's a leader. He's incredibly physical. He makes big plays at big moments. He's just a very well-rounded guy. Like I say, and people will look to him as like I say, he'll wear the green dot one day somewhere. Like I said, like Jack Campbell did, like I say, he's going to be a play caller because he's
Oh
clever.
yeah,
And like I say, he's a
yeah.
good communicator.
That's it. He could easily find a home in the NFL as one of these green dots who's got more importance than just what he does, like athletically. It's what he does up here, and he's very experienced. So I like what Jack Kaiser's done there. In terms of the other ones, I know Nick Martin's been getting some love this week. We know Oklahoma State linebackers, right? They're always high caliber. He's played a ton of college ball as well. So linebackers have been decent this week. And then we're going to end it off with the defensive backs. There's a lot of them again, so I'll break them into half. The first group, BJ Adams from UCF, Trey Amos from Ole Miss, Billy Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma, Sebastian Castro from Iowa, Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky, Tommy Hill from Nebraska, Maxon Hook from Toledo, Bilal Kone from Western Michigan, Raywan Lane III from Navy, Mac McWilliams from Central Florida, Jacob Parrish from Kansas State, Darian Porter from Iowa State, and we'll leave it there for now. Maxwell Hairston, right? Another one of these Kentucky picks who's been doing himself some good this week.
Yeah. This group we've just named here, yeah, they're good. Like I say, Maxwell Hairston, yeah, he's shown, like I say, that he has got elite production. He's got lots of production, big school, like an all SEC second guy. Like I say, he's got leadership. He's physical. His coverage is good. Like I say, he's well built at 5'11". He's got everything. I think
Physical's
Max,
putting it lightly.
yeah,
Good God, he's probably might he be the most physical corner of this? Like you know these
yeah,
Kentucky guys, they love to hit you.
he will get penalties. He will get penalised next level, no doubt about it, but he will make up for it.
Oh yeah.
I think someone is going to take him. I think he's a round two player. I
Oh
think that,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's like I say, I think someone's going to very much enjoy him.
He's projected to be top 40 at the minute, Hairston. I don't think he's doing himself any unfavors here. In that first group, there's a couple of the safeties who've been doing really well. So Billy Bowman, the safety out of Oklahoma State,
Small guy,
Oklahoma,
but
sorry, it's
productive.
5'10", less than 200 pounds, and you're thinking, really? But he is a hybrid, so he plays nickel corner as well, which is his selling point. And so that versatility you have there to drop him into a deep safety, or you can bring him up as a nickel. But they've really been moving him around this week, haven't they? I think that's why he showed out, is because he showed his versatility
Yeah,
on the
he's a
week.
chess piece, and he can tackle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's
If you're a
got a
nickel slot corner, tackling is
mm,
probably the biggest thing you've got to do because the running back normally is coming at you first once they get outside.
absolutely. The
Mac
most
McWilliams, I've seen a lot of people talking about him.
I have, I must admit, I don't know the most in the world about him. But he's been showing out. The Western Michigan one has Bill Alcone. I know he's been doing really well as well. He's a ball hawk. He's made a lot of plays in the air, a lot of pass breakups this week for him as well. So he has looked pretty decent. Let's just rack off the rest of this list because some of the big ones are in here as well. You've got Caleb Ransor from Tulane, Quincy Riley from Louisville, who's a massive favorite in Lions mock drafts. I've no idea why. Jonas Sanker, the safety from Virginia, Jalen Smith from USC, Upton Stout from Western Kentucky, who is one of the names out there. Dorian Strong from Virginia
Yeah,
Tech.
definitely Dorian.
Azariah Thomas from Florida State had a good week. Dante Trader Jr. from Maryland. Hunter Vola from Wisconsin. Jonathan Edwards from Tulane. Melvin Smith Jr. from Southern Arkansas. Dan Jackson from Georgia. Trey Rucker from OK State. And Keandre Jackson from Illinois State, your FCS prospect. But I mean, this starts with Upton's. Oh, well, no, go with Dorian Strong first. There's been some great guys here.
Yeah, Dorian Strong, like you said, there's been a lot of videos of a lot of his one-on-one drills. He's had some battles. I think a few of them with like Jalen Noel. Like I
Hmm.
say, he had a good strong back. He understands the sideline is his friend. He pins guys to it. Like saying he just doesn't give them room to breathe. I think Darian Strong will be a pretty strong draft pick going into next this draft. Like I say, he's one of the most well built, well rounded corners going.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
See, I see everyone talking about Isaiah Thomas. I know very little about him because he's very inexperienced in it. But it's another kind of like say, what is he, 6'2", 220? He's got all the intangibles and he's got all those metrics that are in the top 10 percentile.
Hmm. The
Scares me.
production's been okay, nothing out of the
Yeah.
park, but
Could be a star, like say, because he's big and he's strong and he's got that frame. Could
hmm.
be a total flop.
But we're talking about Mighty Mouses. Upton Stout. He is 5'8", 178 pounds. And you look at them and you're like, no, just no. But have you seen more film of a cornerback this week than Upton Stout? I haven't. I mean, he had a couple of plays against the bigger receivers when he first got there, when he struggled a bit, and they used a bit of the knowledge on him. He adapted like that. The amount of pass breakups he's had, some interceptions this week as well. He is not afraid to mix it up, even though he's much smaller. This is a very intriguing thing because he plays outside. Everyone will want to move him into a slot corner or something, won't they? They'll want to move him inside, but I don't know, man. I watch him, and he's got a lot of production for Western Kentucky. Obviously, when you play against the air raid in practice all the time, you are very accustomed to going out and ball hawking, knocking the ball out the sky, and it's very apparent that when the ball's launched in his direction, he knows where it is. And you're looking, and you're like, size. Again, this is an interesting thing about size, about where they go in the draft. But you look at him this week. He's not looked out of place with all these Power Five guys.
Yep. He's held his own. As you say, even on the eye test, like you say, he looks small. Like you say, compared to some of these guys, but like you say, it doesn't make him any less competitive. If anything, it makes him smarter. He has to play the game a different way because he can't rely on the frame. He can't rely on his build. He's got to find other ways to win and compete and stay relevant with them, which means, like you say, usually it's footwork, it's his hips. Like I say, he's got to have fast, twitchy hips. He's got to have good feet. Like I say, he's got to have good balance because they're going to try bully him. They're going to try push him. They're going to try out physical him. If he lets them, the players will be dead before they get out the break. So yeah, he's got to be able to hold his own within them first 5 yards, where he will get the most contact. Like I say, after that, yeah, like I say, he's very good trailing, and he's got great hand-eye ball coordination. So he's getting his hands in, trying to jar out balls like that. So yeah, I think he'd be very good at it. Yeah, it's going to be yeah, who takes him? Where do you try to put him? Like I say, how do you try to fit him in without without suppressing him?
Wow. And his speciality is run defense. Again, at 5'8" and 178, you're thinking, really? But, I mean, his PFF graded him at 87 over his last two seasons. He's got an 84 and a 90 in his run defense. 6 picks over the last 3 years. I mean, the production's not insane what you would expect there, but he's in there for the run game. So obviously the CUSA, the teams love to run the ball in that conference, but he's got the production to go with it. It's just, I guess maybe bulk on a few pounds. But if he plays the way he played, again, we are advocates for small school guys, guys who don't fit the regular stature, and you look at him and the guy's just not been out of sync all week. He's been great. In terms of others who've looked good, so we mentioned Strong.
Darian
Quincy
Porter
Darian Porter.
getting a lot of love.
Um, he has the Iowa State man. They're showing out this week. These prospects, not just the receivers, but Darian Porter. He's a nice blend of size as well, and he does have the production from college because that system at Iowa State. They love to get the ball out of you. But he's great. I love him. Who else in there has done well? Dan Jackson, the Georgia, I think he's the safety there, if I
Yeah,
remember rightly. I think he plays a little bit of both. But he's got nearly 50 games under his belt over his career
big special teamer as
there.
well.
He is. That'll probably be the thing that gets him in
Blocked a few
instantly.
kicks, didn't he, and punts this season?
Yeah, he did. He's had a few things. He's been a little handsy in training here this week, but he's a physical run defending safety who can be a lot more at the next level. Let's say he's had a few problems with his hands this week, but overall it's looked really good. So it's been very promising all the way through, to be honest with these guys. So yeah. And then Quincy Riley, I'll need to do more work on Quincy Riley. I don't know whether it's just a name everyone picks, but he's a mock draft favorite for some reason. I've not really done my Louisville stuff with him, so
See, I haven't looked
I
too
will
much
have
into
to have
Trey
a look.
Amos because I think he's going to be gone way before the Lions are picking.
Oh, really?
Yep. I've
Oh,
seen
wow.
him mocked most to the Packers to
Oh,
replace
really?
Jair Alexander. I think Trey Amos will be the first corner drafted.
Ooh, what over the like? Oh, really? Oh, well, I take it we're not including Travis in this.
No,
Oh,
he's a hybrid. Like you said, first
it's
true corner, Trey Amos.
oh, what over Will Johnson?
I don't think they'll be far apart.
Oh God! All right, okay, there you have it. Trey Amos going high up. That is, hey, I like it. I will go with that one all day. Then just in terms of the specialists to finish this off, Austin Brinkman is the long snapper from West Virginia. James Burnip, the punter from Alabama. Jeremy Crenshaw, the punter from Florida. Caden Davis, the kicker from Ole Miss. William Wagner, the long snapper from Michigan, and Ryan
They don't really
Fitzgerald,
put
the
any footage
kicker
out of
from
like
Florida
field goals, do
State.
they?
I don't know how much practice they do with it. All we know is Ryan Fitzgerald can hit from 50 plus. That's all he's done for Florida State all year is kick from 50 plus. Maybe let's see him kick some from 30 and 40 and see how his accuracy is in those areas. I mean, there's going to be opportunities. I hear the Baltimore Ravens might have an opening at kicker soon, if anything is seen to be believed. Like Jesus, these NFL players, man, they can be bad sometimes. Is there anything else you want to mention about the Senior Bowl? Because that's everything. That's the roster. That's the breakdown of what some of these guys have done so far. Is there anything else? Anyone we've forgotten? Anyone you want to mention? Anything you want to say about it?
No, I think we've covered everything. Don't think.
Carlton Go is Stout draftable? Yes, of course. Upton Stout is draftable.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um,
You've only got
well,
to look at guys like Ardarius Washington, the
yeah,
safety at like say it's like 5'7", 5'8", had
and a
an absolute
meek.
monster year for the Ravens.
And a meek. Here, it's all about can you find the right system for them and the right place for them, and so you cannot dismiss him at all. He's looked so good. I'd be interested to see if he gets in the game, makes a few plays in there in a bit of scrimmage situation, and you can see that from him. But he's absolutely
I
a
read the games on
draftable.
NFL Network, so I think it's on DAZN.
Yeah, Senior Bowl will be. I'm not sure about
Yeah,
the Shrine
Shrine
Bowl
Bowl, I don't have to
tonight.
watch it, but yeah, like say, what time? When is the Senior Bowl game?
Is it
Saturday.
Saturday? Is it? No, it's
Is it Saturday?
Saturday, I think. Because they do keep the games separate. 'Cause obviously, they're not going to play the games at the same time. They'll want advertisements for them both. So, if anyone's any questions, anything, just let us know. Because that's kind of everything. We've gone through the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl today. Lisa did mention earlier about is there a, and we've got this question a lot. Is there a safety the Lions can draft? Safety. Doig, a centre the Lions can draft as a long-term replacement for Frank, or just as a depth piece for Frank as well. I mean, we've answered this before. I mean, mine's definitely Drew Kendall, who's the Boston College center, NFL lineage, coming from a system that's just so good in producing linemen at the next level. Obviously, you get to play with his teammate Christian Mahogany again. I would love us to draft Drew Kendall, but I don't know, man. Some of these D3, D2 guys looking at center development centers there,
Mm. If you
won't
don't
put
want to
it
spend an
past them. Who
expensive
was
pick,
your?
someone like Cooper Mays,
Yeah,
is
Cooper
he the
Mays could be
Texas
one.
center? Oh no, Tennessee center.
Tennessee
Yeah.
center. He's the
But you also
Tennessee
got Drew
center.
Kendall, you got the Boston College center. I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah.
very
I love
experienced.
Drew.
He won't cost you a lot either.
No, you'll get Drew in like round
Yeah.
five or
Yeah.
something like that.
As I say, if you want to look like say really low down, like Eli Cox from Kentucky,
Yeah.
he's very experienced. He's a well-rounded center.
Yeah.
Then you're getting into probably day three picks onwards.
Yeah. Who's the other one that I usually go for in my mock drafts? Oh God, you're asking me now. There's two of them that I really like. Oh Christ. My mind's gone blank. I'll come back to it, but certainly Drew Kendall is my first pick for this. Oh, why have I forgotten his name now? I'll have said it on another pod before. We have had a question about the only service academy member here. So obviously, Navy have a
Oh, the
safety
safety.
here. Raywan Lane the third. He's 5'11", 197 pounds. I
He's
mean,
very good.
a bit of a production monster as well. He's got 7 picks in his career. Got 17 PBUs. Really good through the air. Only gives up 55% of his completions there, and obviously, as you would expect with the Navy guys, he's really good against the run as well. I've not heard so much about him in relation to Senior Bowl week, but as a player, like this is a legitimate prospect, Ray One Lane, and with the safety class here, I feel like he's got every chance of getting drafted.
Yeah, because you've got Imanora, you've got Malachi Starks, you've got Xavier Watts, like you're probably like your three top 50 safeties, and then it kind of falls off a bit, which gives him a chance, like you say, yeah, and you say he's great against the run. He's found a lot of production in recent years against the pass. He's fairly well built, put together. Like you say, he's very disciplined. Like you say, he's well rounded between three. Probably suits a strong safety in the box. Like you say, yeah, I'd bring him in. I'd add him into our system. Like you say, yeah, I think he's got a lot to offer.
I don't think is he. Don't Army have a draft prospect in this year? Isn't one of their O line in the draft this year? I feel like he's not the only one. I'm pretty sure Army have a draft prospect this year as well. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we did him in the Hula Bowl. I'll have to go back and check my Hula Bowl roster for that, but potentially. Let me just have a look now on their prospects ranking. Is there anyone? No, no. I'll have to look. Maybe is the quarterback declared? I don't know. I will have to surprise with that one. But yeah, Ray One Lane is a very good player. Just not heard much about him from Senior Bowl week, but we'll have a look for you. Because obviously, Senior Bowl week is still going on at the minute. So next week we will do our end summarization of the Senior Bowl and of the Shrine Bowl games as well. And hopefully, if we get a chance, if I'm not working during the Senior Bowl and it's on, we might do a stream for it. We'll see with that. But we'll let you know what's gone on with the Shrine Bowl game as well. Anything else? Oh, that's it. Grandizer's got it. It's Gus Hartwig. He's the Purdue center.
Oh
I
yeah,
really like Gus Hartwig as well. He's yeah. Thank you, Grandizer. Uh, Drew Kendall's me first. Hartwig's me second. So yeah, I would absolutely do that. I do think we need one. We just need a backup center. We don't have one, and we really need one. Graham's the backup center, and Graham's on a career trajectory going downwards, so we really need to fix that one going forward. Grandizer goes is the only draftable military school project. You might be right. You might absolutely be right,
probably.
100%. If I can't remember the other one, then absolutely I'll not be able to. Yeah, again, if anyone's got any questions they want us to answer before we get out of here, just put them in now. Let me just dive into Twitch. I have not checked Twitch all night. I hope that I've not been ignoring anybody in there. Let's just grab on this. I highly doubt it. Not many people watch us while we're in here. No, I think we are all good for that. So just in terms we'll just go through the next shows and bits and bobs now, while we wait. So obviously the next Detroit Lions podcast from Royal Lions UK will be back on Monday. It is our annual awards show. We're giving out our awards for the Detroit Lions season: MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Best Player of the Year, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to be putting up a link soon on Twitter so that you, the fans, can vote in yours because we've got a couple of fan votes for you as well. So yeah, if you've got anything about that, put that in there. In terms of us on the college pod, as I mentioned, we've got a very special show next week. So our good friend Coach Gerald Huggins is going to be back on with us, and you know what time of year it is when he's on. It means HBCU Legacy Bowl week is approaching the third all-star game in the circuit, and there's no one more passionate or knows more about it than he does. We like to put a shine on the HBCU prospects. You've seen what Carson Vincent is doing at the Senior Bowl. They've got representatives at the Shrine Bowl as well. There's some good DBs coming out this year, so hopefully we'll get to chat with him about some guys who will be playing NFL football next year. So yeah, if you've got any questions for him, is there anything you want to know about the HBCUs, anything about the prospects, anything, about what he does with the Shrine Bowl, his stuff at Morgan State, anything, let us know. Just put it in the comments, and that's to say he likes to do his research and get his answers ready beforehand. So I like to try and send as much as I can before. But that's going to be great. We're going to enjoy that. We'll do that, and then obviously we'll do our Shrine and Senior Bowl stuff. I'll finish off as well, and then we'll be into Combine and Pro Day season. The draft is coming before you know it. As I mentioned earlier, at some point in the next few weeks, I will be starting the draft prospect review tapes. I don't know how we're going to do it because YouTube, well, caddies who we use, they don't like us to put the stuff up on YouTube, and I want to maintain a good relationship with them. So I will do them, and I will probably I'll either put them as a Google Drive, and if you want them, I'll send them to you, or I'll do a live somewhere else where we can do it. But yeah, I intend to do quite a lot this year because I like doing them, and I've not done them in the last few years. So yeah, any players you like or anything who you maybe want me to do, because I've got a long list, just let me know and I will try and get round to that. Let me just check if there's anything else there. Grandizer goes, question, where is Hank? I'm sure Hank is around somewhere. He's not always wanting to appear. He's sometimes camera shy, but we'll try and get him on at some point. Mile Marker goes, put on YouTube too, and I don't use Musk. Say, oh yeah, we'll do everything on YouTube, all that sort of stuff. So don't worry about that. Oh yeah, you're welcome. We love having Gerald on with us, Grandizer, so we like that. Oh, we'll do the last one from Grandizer then, because we appreciate you, Grandizer, putting all the names and stuff in this evening. It's been great. Once we finish this season, I'm going to look at a way at getting a lot more stuff on the screen and being able to do graphics and stuff like that and revamping the way we do things. I appreciate it. So his last question, he goes, Ant and Ryan, your thoughts on these risers? Ozzy Trapilo, the offensive tackle from Boston College, Chase Lunt, the offensive tackle from Connecticut. I'll take Chase Lunt because Chase Lunt's not the best offensive tackle coming out of UConn this year. That is Sebastian Venn. They're both very good players, but I'm gonna drum roll for Sebastian Venn. He's their left tackle. He is an absolute monster. He's 6'8". He's Austrian. He is an absolute rum mauler, and his pass protection for a guy his size is really good as well. He's given up one sack in the last 2 years, but Chase Lunt is just as good on the right hand side. UConn is a UConn is a O-line factory and needs to be realized as such. Ryan Van Der Mark has just been re-signed by Buffalo. Christian Haynes is obviously working his way in at Seattle. Like these are legit prospects, and their O-line coach is awesome at what he does. So Chase Lunt for us, I will take either UConn tackle here. You'll probably be early day three, I would say. Ven's verging towards UDFA, but I will bang the drum that he's a lot better than that. I don't know as much about Trapilo from Boston College. I don't know whether you do, Ryan. Any thoughts there?
I've seen some of him. Like I say, he started last all 24 games last 2 years at right tackle. He's also been all ACC first and second team offensive lineman. Like I said, this year he got an 81 pass grade and 74 overall on offensive, so he's graded out incredibly well. He's very experienced. He's a career right tackle. Like I say 6'8", 330, 310, so he's a monster. Like I say, he's very physical in the run game as well. Like I say, Boston College, they've been very productive. He was part of a line that led 200 rushing yard games this year. So he is predominantly a run mauler. Like I say, he's got big size. He's got agility at the next level. Like I say, he's very good and grades out as a pass block as well. In 23, didn't allow a single sack in any drop back as a junior. So he's been very productive in BC, which has been a bit of a conveyor belt for offensive linemen in recent years. It feels like he's the next guy up. Like you say, you're looking at a late day two, a late day early three project. Like you say, that could be a potential start on one side like I say, never playing the weak side, but could have a strong career as a career right tackle potentially.
Yeah, like Boston College is another team where if you're coming from there, I will trust you. Like, look how good Christian Mahogany's done with no off season, no practice. He's come straight into our team and looked $1 million because they are that well technically trained when they come out of college. So, and Drew Kendall's coming out. I'll take Drew Kendall. If a Boston College or a UConn offensive lineman ends up on my team next year, I will be very happy. Let's put it that way. Any one of the four of them. So, yeah, I think that is just about everything for this evening. Then, thank you to Grandizer, thank you to Mile Marker, to Lisa, to Brent, to everyone who's being in the chat. Grandizer, we'll answer that another time. So the key college transfers that have caught our attention, we will do that because usually before the draft we'll do an actual college show just to get away from the monotony of doing draft stuff for the next
The
three
portal
months.
shuts soon
So.
too, innit?
Yeah, the portal shuts soon. So when the portal's done, we'll create a list of the transfers we like the most going for next year. So we will do that question. But we've been going a while today, so we're going to get out of your hair. We appreciate you all. Thanks for bearing with us with the late start. Hopefully you've enjoyed our coverage of the Shrine and the Senior Bowl. And as I say, next week we start on HBCU Legacy Week, and we will of course wrap up the Shrine and Senior Bowl games as well. Have a great day, everybody. We appreciate you very much. Just remains me to thank Ryan, and we shall see you next week. One Pride.
Recording stopped.